Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Reel Debaters. This week on the show, we feature a new debater. His name is Rhett Williams. He is Martin Navarro's buddy all the way up from Vancouver. How did we have him on the show? We finally figured out how to make Zoom meetings work with the Zoom board. So you could essentially say we are Zoom. Don't shoot us, Mazda. I've been waiting all week to make that joke. Don't shoot me. I know it's your slogan. Anyways, so we've got Rhett and Martin in a Zoom meeting coming in live to me and Jimmy in Winnipeg. So that was a lot of fun figuring that out. It's like a game changer if you're a podcaster to be able to mesh video and audio through a long list of cables. So that was great. It sounds awesome. So all that bullshit that I've kind of talked about in the last couple episodes totally dealt with. It feels so good because podcasting is all about audio. Anyways, this show, it's our Halloween special. It's our second anniversary Halloween special. So it's special for that reason. Special because it celebrates a lot of cool, kooky, weird things in the horror genre. Prime example would be some of the things we talked about. One of them would be death by movie. How would you like to die? If you could pick a death from a movie, is that your c'est la vie, your final curtain call? Do you want to go out in a blaze of glory? Do you want to be turned into a zombie? These are just some of the questions we asked. Other little topics that came up, we had best character inspired by a serial killer, best final girl. I don't want to give them all away right now. One more would be, best franchise and why. So there's that and there's a lot more. This is almost 3-hour-long episode, ladies and gentlemen. So there will be this little list of, you can jump. If it's not your cup of tea, you can go to the other points in the episode. So we try to make it as easy as possible because I'm a lazy piece of shit. So 2 Zoom guys coming in through a Zoom meeting into a Zoom board with 2 other guys on the other end. It worked finally. I'm so excited. I whoever's listening, I take it I like that you listen. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to all of us. So whoever has been listening consistently, this is for you because you've grown and listened and heard all of us kind of come off funny or broken or sounding like they've sucked too much helium. That's been a learning curve. So I just would like to note that it's super cool of all the consistent listeners for having to put up with that. And if you're new, then you don't have to worry about it. And you can, I'm not going to tell you not to listen to it. You know what I'm saying. I got nothing else for you. So I'll cue the reel. You enjoy the show.
New bones.
Ooh. A range of tiki mugs.
I think it's tiki cups. Yeah.
One of my favorite movies. I only have 3 movie posters in my home. One's Psycho, one's M, and one's Blade Runner.
I don't even want to do a podcast. I just want to get a virtual tour of Rhett's apartment.
Get a tour of Rhett's
Well, this is the first time I've had somebody over in like 8 months, so.
That's fair.
That's very true.
Right.
Fuck. 2020, the age of Zoom calls and Zoom hugs and Zoom horror movies. Seems to be. I'm sure Zoom stock is just, but like this is the year for Skip the Dishes and for Zoom calls.
This isn't the Masked Singer at all.
No, I didn't put on the Masked Singer. You kind of need to listen to. Although I think
I disagree.
You disagree? Okay, you know what? I'll put it on in the background.
Don't put it on.
No, all right, fine. That's not like it really fucking matters. But, anyways, Rhett, thank you for joining us. This is our first time having a guest halfway across the country. So this is like I've been telling everybody as we've been doing our podcasts that like we're going to be playing with a lot of new ideas here. So this is one of them where we're trying to incorporate Zoom into it. Seems all the pros are doing it, so we might as well, saddle up and get used to this shit. So thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We like to have as many people to play in our little fucked up world here as possible. So you can't say we didn't warn you now.
I knew Martin, so.
All right, so by proxy, you know how fucked up we can get.
It begins.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what it follows, but it begins. I'd love to know what Martin told you about what to expect. I would love to have been in the room for that conversation. So We argue
Nothing.
movies in the most ridiculous fashion. Prime example, what summer camp should Sylvester Stallone characters work at? I just wonder if that was that your pitch, Marty?
No, I just honestly, like, when did we met like last year at Dayton Cup?
Yeah, I met you at Dayton Cup last summer.
I was drunk and I'm like, I got a podcast, be on it. That was pretty much the whole conversation.
Yeah, I don't even, honestly, I was also drunk, so I don't remember that.
But here
and
you
I
are.
actually purposefully wanted to know very little to come in unbiased and blind, but I assumed it was going to be fucked up, and I assumed it was going to be awesome because it's about horror movies. So.
Exactly. This is our follow-up to last year's Halloween special. Last year being very virginal for us, we were kind of like, let's just throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. This one's a little bit more structured.
It's more spooky.
More spooky. Exactly. So
Why would you throw shit at a wall to see if it sticks? Why wouldn't you
it's
throw
gonna
something
stick.
else?
It's gonna stick.
Like, why is that a saying in our language?
True.
Who does that?
I don't know. Like, it's one of those sayings where, like, if it's true to form, somebody
I think
somewhere.
It's supposed to be spaghetti.
It's okay. If the spaghetti
Oh,
sticks.
you're right. That is a thing, isn't it?
Michael's
'Cause
been
I feel like
humming
unless
shit
you
at the
dry
wall.
edge
Yeah.
the shit, it's
Yeah.
gonna stick.
Yeah. All that, those spots on the wall in the bathroom, that's spaghetti, I swear. Anyways, so let's kick into high gear here. Let's start the show. So this was a combination of our four brains going, like, just shoot out an idea you want to talk about, and we'll talk about it. And it ended up curating a pretty fucking cool list, if I do say so myself. So we've got some of Rhett's ideas, Martin's, Jimmy's, and myself's. And the first one I figured would be a fun way to start would be death by horror movie. So spooky. There's a sound pad for such things. We'll get to it one day, I swear. I just wanted to get us talking to each other first. So check the box. So death by horror movie is basically, if you could go out in a horror movie fashion, what movie scene, what killer, I guess, like just an overall murder show, what horror movie would you want to have happen to you? And Rhett, we'll start with you first.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, this was a pretty quick choice for me. And this will pop up, I'm sure, often in the conversation because it's one of my favorite franchises and villains, and that's Freddy. I want to be killed by Freddy. Even if my movie, i.e. my life, is boring as shit, my death will be memorable. Plus, I know I'll go out with a one-liner, like dying would suck, but imagine, having your face smashed through a TV while Robert Englund's saying, "Welcome to primetime, bitch." That's an easy pick for me.
You do have Johnny Depp facial hair. You could sink into a bed.
I was just gonna say, isn't there a bed that somebody falls into? Is he pushed through is that Jason or is it Freddy where someone's
No, that's
pushed?
Freddy. Freddy sucks him right through the bed.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, I've got my 80s
Yeah.
horror characters. Would you want to go in your dream? Because technically, well, that's obviously where he's going to come and get you, right? So,
Yeah, well, there's only one movie when he's not in the dream world, which is probably the worst of all the nightmare movies, and also critically acclaimed as the gayest movie of all time, and that's Nightmare 2. When he shows up to a pool party.
Great film.
But otherwise, it's always in a dream. I don't care about the how. I know it's going to be creative, and I know it's going to be hilarious.
yeah, no, definitely. And then I read something recently that tombstones are now going to QR codes so that you can put more information in a person's bio. So you just walk up to the tombstone, stick your phone in front of it,
Right.
and then
Oh my God,
your entire history is there for someone to read on their phone, like an interactive graveyard tour. So I feel that that would be you're walking through a graveyard and you get to Rhett's grave and you're like, holy shit, Freddy fucked him up pretty good. Like you're talking about epic endings. I love that. That's a pretty cool idea.
Is that really a thing? They actually have QR codes for tombstones?
I don't know if I saw it
That can't be a
on
thing.
Vice or
quite metal.
but yeah, it's pretty badass. I don't know if it's cool as the 60 some odd tombstones that was put in front of Brian Pallister's house last night. You guys
Okay,
probably...
well, in that case, I would want a hologram of my death, just like on a loop.
Yes. Speaking of holograms, fucking Kardashian, Kanye bought Kim a hologram of her dad for her birthday this week.
Horrifying.
It's horrifying.
I would be so upset.
Oh my God. He pre-programmed it to say what he thought she would want to hear. Like, I mean, your idea of your death on a loop is fucking fantastic, but like...
it'd be funny if he could only recite, like, things he said during the OJ trial. Like, that's the only recorded audio they have.
Yes. Oh my god, that would be so awkward. Like he's just sitting there. He's like, "Juice, Juice, it's okay. Don't kill yourself." That's the first line out of the hologram's mouth. Oh, that's dark.
Kanye, I love it.
You've oh my god, I don't even. Anyways, let's go back to Dream by Death here. So Rhett, okay, so Freddie, is there a Freddie that you like the most out of all? Like, because England, correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy and Rhett, you'll probably know this. Didn't England step away from the character because he was starting to get too into the character?
I think he did it the whole time except for like the remake, like the '09 version.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
New
Yeah,
Nightmare, right?
There's one
No.
movie he didn't do, one Nightmare he didn't do, and that's the remake, which I feel like will also come up later in our conversation today. It was a huge fucking mistake, and I don't believe it was his choice. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I believe that
I think
the
he was just
studio,
too
the
old.
fucking Michael Bay's
Yeah.
piece of shit studio, decided to make the horrible remake, and for some reason cast Jackie Earle Haley instead.
Creepy dude. Just yeah, I'm with you.
Not and it's okay if you're like one or two, maybe three movies deep and you're like, let's go in a different direction with a different actor. But how many movies? 10? 12?
But part of it is, man, is that Freddy is Freddy because of Robert Englund. You know what I mean? Like, you can cast somebody else as Michael Myers, and that doesn't matter.
You just need a
because he literally
giant
doesn't
man.
speak. That's not a big thing.
You just
But
need to go to
Freddy is Robert Englund.
Right.
Yeah, he
Right.
is.
It's like when they made a Clouseau movie and cast Steve Martin instead of Peter Sellers. Like, what the fuck are you doing? What's the point?
I do get where they thought they could go, but you just get used to seeing the same person on the screen. So as soon as it's a fucking betrayal when you do it. We've talked about this before, where all of a sudden in the middle of a run, like Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle, right? Like he really stepped out as War Machine, and then it was like, nope, sorry.
Or Billy D. Williams in Batman '89.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's totally the same wheelhouse. Martin, buddy, you're next. Who do you want? What horror movie death do you want?
I'm gonna go with the Interview with the Vampire. I'm gonna get killed by a vampire. 'Cause I don't want to die. I want to live forever.
Sexy.
I have trouble letting go of things.
Why do you assume they're gonna want to turn you?
Yeah, that's a pretty big leap there, buddy. Like
I get turned.
Okay, well, okay,
It's
all
not
right,
gonna be-
all right.
It's gonna be painful because like Lestat is a dick. Like he's a fucking asshole. He's gonna make it hurt. So it's
gonna
gonna
make
be
it
like
hurt.
probably the most painful thing I've ever experienced.
But like you also
But-
might like it.
I might get him. I don't know.
It's the most PG choice you could possibly make.
Oh, totally.
I was gonna go zombies because I was like, I wonder what it'd be like to get eaten alive. And then I
That's
could still
interesting.
live on, but I could still live on in that choice as well. I could be a zombie, Martin, like maybe
I
do
actually
some
like.
zombie comedy.
That's a
or
weird
something.
choice. I wonder what it feels like to be ripped apart by just many hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Choke on it.
well, I think the assumption here is that like when this question was when we posed this was that we pretty much didn't have a way out. Like if you were on death's door.
So Michael, you're saying the zombies aren't just coming up an escalator one at a time at you?
Rhett, if you would like some context with that comment, I got into an argument with these guys over what the best close quarters combat weapon would be for a zombie apocalypse, and this is buried in our early episodes, and I still haven't stopped eating shit for it. But I picked the flail, and all of them assumed that my zombie apocalypse involved a queue of zombies coming up an escalator one at a time. And I really didn't think too hard that as soon as I've swung out, I have to then do the same thing backwards and
The flail.
The flail, yeah. Just Braveheart looked so badass doing it with that one person. I was like, yeah, this seems continuous. I could definitely
You're not
survive.
William Wallace.
I am not William Wallace. Oh shit.
Yeah, Michael, you're still you in these arguments. You're not William Wallace.
I know our premise is real life into real life, but a boy can hope. Avant-garde, exactly. Martin, I have a question. Do you want to be? Is it Lestat you want to be turned by, or do you want to be turned by? I can never remember.
I'm gonna get turned by the best.
Okay.
All
right. You want to be?
You got to get that good stock, that good vampire stock. I'm sure Lestat's a very respected member of the vampire community.
I'm sure.
So I mean, being his prodigy, I'd kind of be a bit more important.
That's a good
No, I
point.
wouldn't have
You'd have some weight to throw around. You would. I got turned by the best. Who turned you? Some no name?
Yeah. Seriously, you got.
Tell ya, Steve.
Steve?
turned you. Former
That's-
IT department, Steve. That's who turned you. I got turned by account. Go fuck yourself.
Well, welcome to the
Karen
first.
from accounting, really?
Shit. Everyone knows Karen only has one fang.
It's the worst scar. You feel totally
Bite me
gypped.
twice.
Well, I definitely think I know what pull quote's coming out of this episode first. Thanks for that, Martin. You get fucking turned by account. No, I think vampire's classy, right? Like if you're and like technically you're finding a loophole, which I appreciate, right? You're not dying. You're just losing. You're losing the ability
Well, you're
to
technically
die.
dead. You're dead.
Well, yeah, but you still get to
not-
lead a pretty decent life. I mean, save for the fact that you have to drink a liquid that isn't approved by the FDA in any way, shape, or form. But like, I mean, besides that, being a vampire is pretty sexy. Like if you followed the Agatha Christie series off movie, Lestat's got a pretty interesting life. That could potentially be yours, Martin. I
That's
say
what
potentially
I
very
want that
strictly.
international style and man of mystery, Martin.
Oh boy.
No more Asian Ellen DeGeneres, Martin.
Okay,
I
but-
want Lestat Martin. Who also does look like Ellen, kind of looks like Tom Cruise in Interview with the Vampire now.
Wow.
That's a reach, but okay. I do want to mention though that like you would get bitten by Lestat, and I think Rhett and Jimmy can agree with me. But then nobody would want to be bitten by Martin. Like
Fair.
you would never be able to turn anybody because I don't want Martin biting me. I want Lestat. That's a sexy bite.
You gotta. That's you gotta get. I don't want to say that word. That
Say it.
I'm not gonna say the word. The daddy word. I was like, yeah, I gotta get it by that daddy because he's my vampire daddy.
Well, you said it now, so poll quote's been changed. That will be Vampire Daddy going forward. Get him in the comments,
Vampire
everybody.
Daddy's the one.
Get him in the comments.
Who's your vampire daddy, guys?
Email Reel Debaters.
The question of the week. Jimmy, you're next, buddy. How do you want to go out?
Well, as some of the listeners and as you guys may know, I struggle with sleep, and I always have. So I as well as Rhett picked Freddy because at least it means that I got some sleep.
Finally, you had to go all the way to the extreme
Yeah.
to take a decent afternoon nap.
I think so.
The long
but
nap.
To be fun, I'll pick something different. I'll go with what we're watching, The Quiet Place, because it means I will no longer have to have any conversation with any stranger ever again.
Yes.
Jimmy loves people, everybody.
And
He
if I
loves
ever-
humanity.
If I ever have an awkward interaction or my pants split or whatever, I can just yell real loud and end it all.
Job interview's not going well.
It's over.
Oh, that's funny. Like, imagine being in I can just see in a scene where you're in a giant fight with somebody, and you're like, one moment, and then you just go outside and go, rah! And then something comes out and takes you, and it's like, all right,
It's the ultimate end all.
fade to black.
This argument is over.
So I actually have in my pick here, it says, machetes and spiky fingers are so 80s. So you clearly know that I am a borderline millennial. Me and Martin kind of play in
Yeah,
both.
Okay, boomer.
Learn the code, loser.
So I appreciate technology for what it's done for us, but I still like a face-to-face conversation. I like being able to order food on my phone, but I like going to a restaurant more. Like, you know, I kind of have the
What does this have to do about getting killed?
because I can appreciate the technology that Jigsaw brought to the game. I would want to be put into some sort of weird fucking device. I think that would be a cool way to go. Like I admire the engineering. I would look at the ingenuity and the genius that went into the well, not the pit of heroin needles, because that's not really.
I want to
that
know what
hard.
horrible thing you did in your past that warrants this.
Nothing. I just well, yeah, okay, true. There is that. I'm sure there's
A lot of drugs, Jimmy.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs.
Yeah. No, I'm sure I wouldn't. It wouldn't just be like bye-bye. I'd have to atone for something, right? And he would get me in the end. But I mean, like it's dramatic. It's over the top. It's cool, right? Like getting your scalp ripped off by a car being.
Would you
dropped
go
into a-
reverse bear trap?
my favorite one is where they put the man in the vice
The
grips.
twisties?
The twisties.
Oh, that's not fun.
Yeah, like
I
the
don't like that.
turning the joints.
That's
away
not even
from
going to kill you. That's just going to twist you.
Jimmy don't like you. Jimmy don't like
Jimmy
you.
no likey indeed.
I just like that one the most because it's kind of one of those like you're fucked 3 hours from now because you'll bleed out. You're not initially fucked right now.
And you're never walking or grabbing again.
No, somebody's
Wow.
opening your ketchup bottles for the rest of your life. That's for sure.
So not only did you choose probably like the worst possible torture ending, you chose the slowest death in all of the Saw franchise.
You're gonna die of dysentery.
I have that shirt
It's
still.
like Oregon.
I have Oregon Trail in my room. You have died of dysentery. Okay, Rhett, no, to say what you're saying, I'm a pleasure delayer. I
Oh
like
my
to
God.
push it as far as possible. So yes, I want my death to be slow and agonizing. I just don't want it, like prime example, last night I had cheesecake for dessert. I did it in 3 bites. Like I wasn't going to fuck around, but my death, right? My death means something to me. So I want to be there as long as possible to open my mind and cross the plane and have my forearms facing
admirable.
backwards.
This is very admirable. It's also a stark contrast to Martin's basically like found a loophole in this question. How can I survive?
That's what we do.
Sucked on by a good-looking actor.
You know what? That always
A
comes
vampire
down
daddy.
every time
Yeah,
in Martin's
vampire
arguments.
There's always a
Martin's
loophole.
arguments always come down to, well, we didn't say that.
which I like. There are so many. Like that we have.
Michael writes all the questions. I just interpret them a certain way.
Yeah.
Who really knows what to scale means?
But hang on.
Nobody.
Prime example. The next one we were doing. I said to Martin, I asked him a bunch of questions, and I gave him. I was like, any caveats, any rules you want to throw in? And he always goes, nope, because he wants to have the loophole ready to fucking go. So I've just come to conclusion that I'm never asking you if you want any caveats in this, because you're like, nope, because that's all my ammo. So, anyways, all right. Question 1 done. This is the one that I was super excited to talk about the most. I saw it online and I figured, yep, this is a great conversation starter. So traditionally speaking, you've got your director and your 2 or 3 assistant directors, right? But what if you did what the Traveling Wilburys did, but you do it with movies? You make a super group of all the fucking fantastic talent. And how this originally started was, I think it was Jimmy and Mark and me. I know it was one of us where we were talking about if you could make a movie in each scene.
I recall.
And then like the first scene would be one director, the second scene would be a second director, and the third scene would be a third director, same story, but interpreted differently through a director's eyes. So you'll have like long takes in the first scene, and then like quick fragmented digital stuff, and then and then like your epic Technicolor or whatever. But you mash it up. But what if you did that with horror movies? What if you took 2 of the best and had them make one super horror movie? I've never heard of this, which is, well, I saw it online, but I've never heard of this talked about on a podcast. So trademark. Rhett, you're a guest. If you could make a super horror movie, who would you want to see?
The first thing that came to mind is Wes Craven with John Carpenter for me. They're 2 of my favorite directors. They're the masters of horror, the godfathers of horror. But they also both have a super lean style. JC's like ultra lean, but they also both have shown a surprising amount of sensitivity. I feel like they have a similar style, similar ethos, and they would work really well together. They're also just like 2 classy badass dudes, and they never got to work together despite being the 2 masters. So if I had the means to resurrect Wes Craven, God rest his soul,
that would be the best way to do this.
Choice.
It's your lucky day, man. We do have the means.
Yes.
Yes.
Rhett, go to your door right now. Someone's waiting there for you or something.
It's the 2 of them, one body.
Zombie Craven.
We reanimated Wes Craven
It's
for
my
you.
new vampire daddy.
Full circle.
No, and they were always competing against each other. There's a good that's 2 guys who at the end of their career, I think it probably would have happened because somebody would have. It's like the Rocky, the what is it, Rocky 7, Rocky 6, where like they do the hologram and they like
Adrian's revenge.
Paulie's return. Like they did the thing where they did the hologram of bringing them back and seeing if Rocky could fight today. That would be cool if you could put John Carpenter and Wes Craven into an algorithm
director
and just see what would come out if you combined their entire works
Right?
into a computer and then just write that. Like, fuck, you don't need them to be alive. Just take their work and throw it in a blender and call it a fucking day. That would be so interesting too, because when you say he's lean, like he was more about the story and more about the building of the character than he really gave two shits about the CGI, where Wes Craven was really into the practical and, well, on the cusp of CGI happening, but mostly practical, right? But well done practical versus not cheap, but
both of them, man. Both of them. Like JC's all about the practical. I mean, The Thing has some
beautiful.
of my favorite movie effects of all time.
yes, you're right. You're definitely right. That
The
face.
puppetry.
The puppetry.
Yeah, man.
Oh, there we go. For some reason, I think they just ended up on the big screen, but I don't want to take off. I don't want to take
I think we
off.
froze.
Oh no,
No, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys are back. Hello.
Awesome.
Hello.
Zoom's fun. I don't know how that. I think I know what that is, but that's okay. We'll figure that out another day. Let's see here. Bet you I know what it just did.
Martin, what do
Are we
you got?
getting too much bandwidth on the video or what?
No. What ended up? So I've been trying to put you guys onto the big screen in front of us so
Okay.
we can see you, and it
Oh, you
just
don't want to see that.
just figured out
Is there
how to
something
take.
in my nose, Jimmy?
2 mediums and 1 large.
I see remnants of salt from French fries from McDonald's in your nose, Martin. Did you have a rough night?
That was
Yeah.
actually yesterday.
So-
I got $15 worth of McDonald's yesterday because there was a coupon.
That's so you could have fed a family of 5 with that.
Oh, it was a family of 1 here at the Martin household.
Calories for
Salt in your
5, dinner for
nostrils.
1. Okay, so now we can see you on the big screen. That's the only thing that just happened with that little clip there. So
Awesome.
we're good. Martin, what's your super director mashup?
I was also thinking Wes Craven and John Carpenter, but not both of them mashed together. I was going to mash it with someone else, but in the end, I went with Sam Raimi and Guillermo del Toro.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fun.
Just
Talk
because
to me.
I like the characters in Sam Raimi movies. I've always liked them. And I like, for Guillermo, I like the monsters in the world del Toro creates in all of his movies. So I think mashing those two into something would be kind of cool.
That's a good fucking answer.
Something different in the horror genre too.
So you've got, like, Raimi did the remake of The Ring, which I thought was okay. I didn't.
It's fine.
It wasn't. Nobody asked for it, but whatever. But I know, like,
That was Gore Verbinski.
was it Gore
It was?
Verbinski?
Yeah. Sam
No.
Raimi didn't do
Well,
The
okay,
Ring.
it's
you
not the
thinking
Ring
of
that
then?
he redid. There was a movie that was
Spider-Man.
No, Spider-Man.
Are you thinking of Spider-Man?
I'm thinking.
I almost
Sorry,
did a
guys.
spit take on that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I believe you were thinking of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Green
That
Goblin. My
was a
bad.
horror movie on its own.
The
Yes,
scariest.
it was. Yeah.
No,
What do you think
he
of
was in town filming something with John Cho. I can't remember what. We'll fact check the shit out of this later, but I mean loosely, we'll fact check the shit out of that later.
He may have produced the Grudge remake.
That's it. Thank you. That's what was
Yeah.
filmed here. The remake Grudge was filmed here, and I'm just imagining that with some
That
Evil
was Sarah
Dead.
Michelle Gellar, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm combining
Not the remake, the original.
the old Evil Dead in my head with some Guillermo del Toro, like eyes in the hands kind of thing.
It's so beautiful. Like, I'm thinking about it, and it could just...
Mhm.
Because what... like, just the Evil Dead and the faces and the mask and what Guillermo del Toro can do with that just could really add something to it. Good answer, Martin.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, I
buddy.
like that.
I think you should write
That's
a
for you
letter.
guys. That's for you guys.
Yeah. No.
Hollywood, make it happen.
If you're
Yeah,
listening,
right,
which
yeah.
I bet you aren't, that's I picked something that actually already happened, and I didn't realize that until this morning. So, but I think it should be done. I think more or less in the fact that I think he should step into the director's chair with him. But I picked Jason Blum and Eli Roth.
Ooh.
So those are mine because Jason Blum loves story. He loves to get I just watched
No matter how bad.
no matter how bad exactly. I watched The Lie on Amazon Prime. It's got Peter Skarsgård in it, Joey King, and she was the wife of Brad Pitt in World War Z.
Who wants a point?
Who wants a point? There's a point up for grabs if you can remember the name.
I got nothing.
Marion. I
look it up.
tagged her this week in a fucking photo. She didn't reply. Fuck.
No
Whatever.
point.
That's why I don't remember your name. So the point is, the real point is, Eli Roth's Bloodlust with Jason Blum's story would kind of fill each other's lacking in the toolbox, right? Like Jason Blum doesn't really play. He likes soft horror thriller. Eli Roth likes bloodlust torture porn.
Like if they did Green Inferno with Fantasy Island.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm getting at though. But like with a little bit
It was
more.
Muriel Enos. Sorry, that was the character.
Thank you.
That's the
Started with point Martin. Just late to the party. I really think that they would complement each other and fill in the missing holes, right? So you'd get less bloodlust, less Green Inferno, less
Horrible character writing in Fantasy Island.
yes, so bad, so bad. But The Lie was good. Bloom released 4 new Amazon Prime specific movies, and they're all in the horror tab. So they made a horror collection for the month, and I watched The Lie, and it's really not horror at its core, but when you get to the end, I would have to ruin the movie for you to get to it. But like, what's horrific is personal character choices that he's made for these characters. The movie itself doesn't have any jump scares or anything, but you're like, that's fucking horrific at the end of it when you find out how it all went down. And it's about a tragic death of a girl's best friend and if she did it or not.
Ooh,
So
a mystery.
Yeah, and like not a lot of big names, but so Eli Roth, Jason Blum, just for Bloom, and Bloom can carry stuff. I mean, his name
Oh yeah,
is big. Bloomhouse.
he's got a housemate on it.
He's got a housemate. so I feel where Eli Roth, fuck Jimmy, so big, he's got a house. I feel that they would pull Eli Roth out of the cheap seats a little bit and give him a better chance at making a movie. So that's me. What about you, Jimmy?
Well, I went with Don Mancini from the Child's Play franchise.
Yeah.
And a newcomer directing to horror, but he did The Invisible Man, Lee Wan-el.
Okay.
And Upgrade.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Upgrade?
I've been meaning to. It's on
Yes.
Netflix, right?
Upgrade's good.
So good.
It's the fight scenes and the action. I didn't quite understand it, but they would hook up like a GoPro camera to one actor that's on a stick with an iPhone to the end of it, and the iPhone would stay connected to the GoPro. So it all the fight scenes look so fluid and smooth. It's completely insane. And I think him with Don Mancini and that fucking Chucky puppet can really do some creepy looking shit.
That would be, yeah. No, I'd like that. I like puppetry is really making a comeback. I think not of the penis, but in just horror general sense. But like
kind of both.
And maybe not even like I watched Mandalorian last night, the new one, and like Yoda's baby Yoda, the child, whatever moniker you want to give it, is a lot more prevalent now. And I mean, yes, because it's cute, but puppetry is kind of like, we know you can do it way better in CGI, but the tactile nature of having the doll on set instead
Makes a
of
difference.
bringing
It does.
Chucky in
Absolutely.
post.
Didn't Werner Wartzog just yell at people for even considering it? Like, I love that shit.
Yeah, no, he was like, how dare you fucking CGI this? People want this little fucking green thing to do its thing in person. You make it fucking so, Favreau.
Love it.
But
yeah, definitely go watch The Invisible Man and go watch Upgrade. They're great films.
I
They're
watched.
great, man.
Mm-hmm.
I watched.
Have you seen Cooties?
I have not seen Cooties.
Fucking great. Another good one. He's a winner, man. I think that he's a great writer. I love The Conjuring. I love Insidious. He's got a Spielbergian sort of like, family love dynamic thing that he kind of brings to all of his stories. I think Lee Whannell's a gem.
Hell yeah.
I watched The Haunting of Bly Manor. Finished it this last week. Probably one of the best horror love stories that will ever be made, and no one else will do another version of that with a show. But it was heartbreaking. But the husband from Invisible Man, is one of the leads in Bly Manor.
Yeah,
and he has got a Scottish accent that almost is as good as Sean Connery's, which you said before we started talking that we should take a minute. And now that we've kind of warmed up here, I feel doing Sean right off the hop was a little too early, right? I feel that's like 16-year-old losing your virginity. You just want to blow it and then be done. So we're adults. We're good. So
are we?
Well, we're good.
Are we?
I'm not an adult by any means.
Speak for yourself. So Martin, do you wanna go first? And it doesn't have to be a James Bond line. It just has to be in honor of Sean because.
Can I go next? Because I'm just like warming up the voice right now.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right.
I'm not really.
All right. It's technically I run the show, so I'll go first. I'll stick my toe in here. So, I was actually doing impressions in the shower in anticipation of this happening. Like I was practicing today. Like as soon as Shona left, I was like, oh, one ping only version. So, but that really that line, honestly and true. That or when he, Indiana. Just when he reaches over and finally
up.
calls
Wow.
Indiana Jones by his name instead. Indy. Hearing Indiana just made me melt inside. And I mean, there's tons of other ones, but it's that dad look, giving him his hand. Drop the fucking cup, Indy. It doesn't matter. Come out of the pit. So, Indiana.
One of my favorite movies growing up, by the way. So nice.
Right?
I appreciate
It's not one that you would anticipate because there's so much Bond, there's so much Trebek, there's so much whatever. Considering Martin's still sucking cock to warm his vocals up over there, Rhett, do you want to go first or next?
I was not warned of this.
No, this is on the fly,
No,
buddy.
none of us were. None of us were.
But yeah, I mean, I'll take S words for 500.
I'll take anal bum cover for 200.
Yeah,
Really tits now.
Your mother, Trebek. Yeah.
But
be gone with the bloody ass.
that, honestly, Daryl Hammond's impersonation on SNL was, you know how Kevin Pollak gets, I think Kevin Pollak gets the best Christopher Walken impression award. I think Daryl Hammond gets the best Sean Connery impersonation award. Having done it for so much, you can't, you know.
Shaver.
What smells like a duck and has a what looks like a duck and has a cold? A sick duck? No, your mother, Trebek.
Yeah.
So no, that's great. Thank you, Rhett. All right, Martin, are you ready, or should we skip to Jimmy here, and then we'll get back into what we came here to talk about?
What are we talking about?
I don't know what we're talking about.
Give me a Sean Connery impression.
What happened?
They
We
could
did
never
have
take our lives,
Mashups, right? Yeah.
Yeah, give me.
but they'll never take our freedom.
That was Mel Gibson.
That's Mel
That's
Gibson.
Mel Gibson
That
pretending to be
is
Scottish.
that is the
Wow.
Never take our freedom.
But like if Sean
We went from
Connery,
actual Sean Connery to somebody doing an impression of Sean Connery to
Mel
just
Gibson.
random person who's not even Scottish.
That's the best.
that was Sean Connery doing Mel Gibson doing William Wallace.
I get it. I
The
see how you.
levels to my impressions, you guys.
Yeah, that's meta, buddy.
Yeah.
I get it. It came full circle. Okay, Jimmy, for just doing that, you are off the hook. Martin,
All right.
you can end this, please. Let's get back to fucking the third question here.
Miss Moneypenny, shaken, not stirred.
Moneypenny.
I like how he says that. Just Moneypenny.
Yeah, and you know what? I think he did
I like
one.
how he can't shake his Sean Connery-ness. There's certain actors, and I feel like they're almost always Scottish, by the way. Like Gerard Butler's another example, where like
True.
even when they try, they're still just very Scottish.
James
Like
McAvoy's really
fucking
good
Sean
at
Connery played
Yeah.
a Russian Navy captain
it.
in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, just be you. It's fine. It's
One of
fine.
my
He played a dragon, and he was still Sean Connery.
Yeah.
That's right.
One of my favorite lines from Sean Connery is from The Rock when he's like talking to Nick Cage and Nick Cage is all defeated, right? And he's like,
Oh, yeah.
they, what can I do, man? I tried my best. And Sean Connery's like, your best. Losers whine about their best.
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Yes.
And he's like, she was the prom queen.
And that
Boom.
gets Nick Cage
Wow.
up and going to do the job.
Yes. Anybody would say that though. Or like Entrapment when he's like up on the roof with
Your best.
Your best. But he like knocks the glass of scotch off the top of his castle in Entrapment just to like intimidate Catherine Zeta-Jones. Like I feel he would do that in real life. I don't feel. I feel that was an outtake. I don't think that. I think he was just being like, "Get your best on set, bitch." Threw the rock glass
Yeah.
off and called it a day.
Rest in peace, Sir Sean.
Step it up.
And I know. I just want to say for the record, I know he had a really bad interview in Playboy in the '90s. There was a comment about how it's okay to hit women. None of us think it's okay to hit women. This is all about his character. This is all about his skill on set. This is not about his personal life philosophy of it's okay to hit women. It's never okay to hit women, Sean. So fucking take that to your grave. Put that on his QR code on
This
his.
podcast took a turn. What the?
Michael's good at
His
that.
hologram on his tombstone is just going to be this.
Yeah. On
This over and
fucking,
over
5-minute
again.
I just
conversation.
want to point out that kind of got. I saw it on social
Thank
media
you.
this morning.
Thank you for letting our listeners know that it is not okay to hit women.
No, I
Yeah,
just want them to
that's
know
so
that the
great.
fuck I can't do these PSAs well. People know we come from.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
It
Nobody's
comes
here for
Not our
PSAs.
department.
This really went off the rails.
Yeah, let's go. There's a train. Let's get on it.
How much weed did you smoke weed before? Or?
Yes.
Shaver.
Shaver. So the next little segment here that we're going to transition to so smoothly is best franchise series and why. And we'll switch up the order here just to keep things fresh.
Can I start this one?
You want to start?
it?
Yeah, no, you take it.
Okay.
Take it. Go.
This is it's so tough because a lot of these franchises, like I'll use Texas Chainsaw as an example, they just sometimes fly off the fucking rails, man. And look, I love TC2. I really I love that shit
Yes.
so much. But man, 3 and 4,
Motherfucking Bill Moseley.
just amazing. Gets the role from a parody film he made. Unbelievable stuff. But yeah, they just and it sucks. And a lot of these movies will do that. Like Halloween kind of goes a bit off the rails with H2O and what was the one with Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks?
That was after that. That was Halloween 8. That one's, I think, probably
Resurrection.
the worst one. I actually really like H2O.
Yeah?
Anyway,
Is that the Paul Rudd one?
I think so. Yeah.
No,
Is
that's
it?
the one when Jamie Lee Curtis comes back as
Right.
7.
Okay,
H2O.
that's my fault. But yeah, once they start getting into the weird cult stuff in Halloween, it can get really it's just strange, man. And even with like Nightmare, I think Nightmare probably did the best out of maybe all of them. I mean, the Fridays kind of feel all a bit repetitive, but with Nightmare, even I love Dream Warriors. I thought that was really fun. Yeah, I don't know. Best franchise, man. That's a tough one.
Rhett just gave you 2 huge thumbs up for Dream Warriors.
I love that shit. I thought
Dream
that was
Warriors
just
is dope.
I thought that was a great idea for a movie, and it was just so fun the way they did it. And
Yeah.
I'd have to give it to Nightmare probably.
It is. It really. Whenever I think of horror series, Nightmare just
Jumps out at you.
it's just at the it's right on the front part of my horror brain. You can't talk about horror series without talking about that, because I feel like I'm correct me if I'm wrong, which I probably am. Was there really a big thing for series prior to the 80s? I mean, really, really big. I mean, I know they're done, but what I'm saying is I think the 80s and the 90s really brought in the love of a horror series.
James Bond.
Classic Universal Horror Pictures, though. Like, I mean, there were a lot of Frankenstein movies.
Yeah,
from the
monster
30s
movies.
Onwards. That was a bit of a thing, but I mean, Nightmare definitely changed cinema in a lot of ways, for sure.
It allowed for a story to be a world. I think when you got into the series thing, like Alien did it.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, they started in 79, but then you're into the 80s. Like it really just feels that stretching these out and, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's
Android
really
Ripley.
Spaghetti.
Nice. Nice. That right back around, yeah.
But and just being like, all right, that works. Okay, we can go in this direction. Not just staying within inside the parameters of one movie, one story. That's it.
Yeah.
So I think Nightmare really did that well. I picked Final Destination.
Shit.
Like it's also the same thing, right? But it's the original Saw. It's reinventing death constantly.
In the same, like it definitely gets gorier as it goes too, in the same way.
Exactly. You don't really tune in for the story. You tune in for the jump scares. You tune in for the new methods of death. You tune in for the new gross outs. But you know that death, which the one thing I thought was really cool reading about it was that death is now the character. Where like the antagonist is normally a human.
Something you can stop.
Something you can stop. Something you can touch. Something you can see. You can't see this until you've got 7 knives on your kitchen countertop and your chest and your
that all face outwards for some reason.
Right? No, like this unsafest home. Fuck.
I was letting them dry faster. They have to dry faster.
You got me there.
Yeah, Martin doesn't like water stains on his knives.
My favorite part about the Final Destination series is that it goes, and maybe I've mentioned this before, but it goes Final Destination 1, Final Destination 2, Final Destination 3, The Final Destination, and then Final Destination 5.
Yeah, right. Like, why couldn't they call it 4? Why did they do that? Did they think they were going to end it?
It's like Fast and Furious. It's like The Fast and the Furious, Fast and Furious, F and F, Fast and F. effing furious.
Effing Furious.
Just number them, dude. It's like,
Effing Furious. I love that one. That should be the next title. Just go out in a blaze. Effing Furious.
I just tell me which ones has the Rock in it.
Yeah.
That's the ones I'll watch.
yeah.
Martin's a fan of the later Fast and Furious movies.
I like the Rock. The Rock is.
I've
good
heard they're
too.
good. I haven't actually
Hey.
seen them, but I've heard some of the later ones are good. And we talked about Lee Winnell. James Wan directed the one when Paul Walker died. I actually really want to see that. I just know that I have to sit through fucking 7.
No, you don't have to. Just go straight to it.
Didn't
Okay, because that's 14 hours of cars, and that's like that's a personal hell for me. Personally,
like you'd have to watch Cars 1 and then Cars 2 like 5 times to get the same amount of cars.
That's true. And Disney doesn't do the same outlandish shit that they try to do, which you'd think they would, right? Like you can animate something. Nope, Fast and Furious still more stupid. Although I will say
why don't the cars talk?
Yeah,
I'm
really.
not watching it.
I will say that Hobbs and Shaw was fun.
Oh my god, I hate you.
Like, and I only went to go see because The Rock. But it was fun.
Get
and
out.
like I also paid $40 to see it for 2 people because that was the first time that me and Mark
Wait,
went to go
$40 per person, right?
per
Yeah,
person.
that's theater prices now.
Yeah, so I got us 2 really
Why?
good. Okay, hang on.
Why?
Right, you're gonna like this one. So I got stoned, and I was like, "Mark, want to go see a movie?" And Mark's like, "Sure. What day?" So we picked a day. I went and logged into Adam. Shout out to Adam Ticket App. Logged in. Their app is not made for stoned people. I'll tell you why. They default to like the day of for buying tickets.
Yeah.
So like if you're not paying attention, you buy tickets for like that night. So I bought tickets not knowing I had to like go to a calendar. Like I figured I'd put the tickets in my cart and then they give me the date. They default to today's date. And
As
then
one would.
as one would, right? Making it easy for you to shop online. So I bought tickets for like that Tuesday when we were going that Friday. So then we went to the movie theater on Friday and we didn't have tickets for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to spend another $40. So I spent $80 to see Hobbs and Shaw.
So you legally have to say you liked it.
Yeah. Like I paid, I think I have shares in that movie once it starts to make money.
Have you ever booked anything online before, Mike? I mean,
Wow.
that's usually default is if you don't pick a date, it's going to be that day.
Yeah, no. I just was like, woohoo, movie! And
Dude, that's your slow saw death right there. Paying $80 to watch Hobbs and Shaw.
okay, fair enough. We'll put that in. Just tie me down to a chair and like on repeat. You paid $80. That's 37 viewings of Hobbs and Shaw. If you can survive that, well, I don't know. But yeah, so Final Destination. Predominantly because Death became a character. He's like a Rune Glifberg device, you know?
Well,
like he swings into the scene and then like 19 bad things happen. So it's very esoteric. It's very out of your hands, right?
I like the first one when he kills Devon Sawa's friend in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then
Yes, that's
proceeds
the
to
exact scene that came to my mind when you mentioned it. Yeah.
right, and then like Death just like cleans up its mess.
Yeah. Like it stops being wet.
Like you're not gonna go to jail, Death.
You're not leaving evidence behind.
You don't have to clean up a
It's like, hey, you gotta
crime
have
scene.
sunglasses next.
That's so
Put out an
stupid.
ABB for Death.
And then it never happens again. Never
Possibly,
again.
I don't know how high, but
Oh, I love it. Why did Death clean up its crime? Why did you get rid of the bloody glove, Death?
No
It's
one
not
will
like-
know I, Death, did this.
the glove don't fit. You can't acquit. Or you can't acquit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it always delivered. It actually is from it inspired a graphic novel, Final Destination something or other. Like it kind of spun off in a couple different ways. Devon Sawa always delivered.
Idle hands, baby.
Idle Hands, yeah.
Yes, I just watched that last night. No joke. It's one of my favorite Halloween movies.
That's a
So
throwback. I love
Hilarious.
that.
I didn't know. I didn't expect it to be like a crazy, like a horror movie. I thought it'd be more funny, but it surprised me in that way when I first saw it in theaters.
It's
Just
great,
good.
man. Yeah, I love it.
Idle hands.
All right, Marty, what about you? Favorite series?
I'm gonna go with my boy Sam Raimi, and I'm picking Evil Dead.
Yeah,
I
you
am
are.
picking Evil Dead, because you got Evil Dead,
Thought you were
Evil
gonna
Dead
pick
2,
Spider-Man.
Army of Darkness, and then you got Ash versus the Evil Dead, Evil Dead the musical, you got Evil Dead the video game, which was good for PS2 as well. That was a great video game. But I don't know. I liked it because I like that it's kind of that transformation from horror than horror to comedy, and then it just gave it to what it is today. And it also gave us the character of Ash Williams, who's awesome, and introduced most of us to Bruce Campbell, who was also awesome. So
Woohoo!
that is my pick for best series.
There is a lot of how it jumped off the screen and became a part of pop culture. Like Freddy didn't jump off like that. Final Destination didn't even get an inch of vertical, but like Ash versus the Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell, these are all things. Like I went and saw Evil Dead the musical, and like Evil Dead's great and all, but like I'm not a big Evil Dead fan, but I was drawn to the Evil Dead musical.
You're too scared.
Probably. You should see me laugh. The reason I sound so delicious today
Oh my God.
is because I went to Six Pines last night. What do you give me a thumbs down for?
We're booing you, Evil Dead, but not liking it.
Oh!
I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying
Boo this man.
no. Listen, I can totally I adore it. I think it's great. I'm just it's not on my list, but what I'm saying is it's so good that because I maybe don't like the movies as much, I know the story, so I went and saw the musical. And like I went and saw a musical, guys, of a movie I could have rented, but that's because I know how great the story is and how great the characters are, so I know what's coming.
Were you in the splash zone?
I was in the splash
Nice.
zone.
I was.
Yeah.
I was in the splash zone. You got to do it once in your life, man.
Totally. And like they give you a raincoat, and it does wash out, but like you'll be sitting there and you won't even see it coming. And like the one I saw was kind of a bargain bin version of it. Like they did have some problems with the squirting, so like you'd see a device start to do its thing, and then like just a blood spot form where it's supposed to be like coming out. And you're like, oh, okay, that device clearly is
You should
clogged.
get that checked out.
You should probably. That's a.
Oh, dude, you're bleeding.
Yeah, but you're not like bleeding out. You're just growing a dot, is what it looked
You
like.
like picked a scab.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but it was fun and it was great. So my final thought on that, Martin, is yes, it is a great series, but it's more popular than any other series because it spawned fucking Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show.
Spider-Man.
Bruce Campbell is in everything Sam Raimi does because of that character. Like Ash is
And Ted Raimi.
right. Ted Raimi?
We got Ted Raimi out of Sam Raimi. That's good news.
Is that his son?
Yes.
That's his brother.
That's
Oh,
his
bro-
brother.
oh, okay. I see. That.
Well,
Come
they used to do
on,
movies
come on.
together as kids, right? Or when they were younger, that's
Yeah.
how they all know each other.
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
there's
Well, they know each other from
Wait.
birth.
In the Bruce Campbell biography, his book, his autobiography, he talks about that. But they actually went to the same film school as the Coen brothers.
Oh.
So he jokes about how they came out of film school and made Blood Simple, and we made Evil Dead. I love the charm of that. I love those movies, man.
That's the beauty of film school, though. Like you go, you interpret what you want to make, and then you leave. So just because you went to the same film school does not mean you're going to make the same product, which
Yeah.
is the beauty of film
Sometimes
school.
you make
hopefully.
Spider-Man.
Sometimes you make Spider-Man. Exactly.
Sometimes you make Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. Sometimes you
Yeah, let's
make. Sometimes you
just
make.
pretend that didn't happen.
That's
Sometimes you make Doctor Strange in the
Multiverse of Madness.
Multiverse
Oh
of
my
Madness
God, I'm excited.
with Spider-Man coming back. Like, come on. There's so yeah. No, Sam
We miss
Raimi's
you,
the
Toby.
shit. We miss you. We're a Toby podcast for
this
sure.
is a Tobey Maguire
Yeah.
podcast.
Sean Connery is Bond. Toby Maguire.
I'm a Roger Moore Bond.
You may find the door. This is Scotland forever. Scotland forever, buddy.
Daniel Craig Bond is pretty dope, though.
Yeah,
he
totally.
looks like a dude who could kill somebody by just
Absolutely.
snapping their necks.
Just by
he looks
being
like
handsome.
the character.
Oh, he
I think he's my favorite Bond, actually.
outside of
choice.
Connery, he's number one. If Connery wasn't there, he'd be
Pierce
easy.
Brosnan.
You just go stick your
Well,
head. in-
GoldenEye. I imagine.
I love
also similar
GoldenEye.
I
age,
love
right?
GoldenEye. Xenia Onatopp,
That video game was the best on N64.
Oh
It
my
gave us the
God.
GoldenEye video game.
It's true.
paintball mode, GoldenEye, so much fun. So much fun. Rhett, end us off. What's your favorite series?
No, I mean, I hate to second a vote, but
That means I win.
can't. I'll expand on it a little bit, I guess. But I'm picking Nightmare on Elm Street for sure, because even the worst of those movies were still entertaining. They consistently had some of the most creative deaths we've ever seen on screen. I mean, I'd watch Robert Englund do just about anything. Like, he is the most charismatic franchise villain, period. But more on that, it created New Line Cinema, basically. They actually call it the house that Freddy built, without which we wouldn't have, like, Lord of the Rings, for example. It put horror into popular culture. in a way that it wasn't at the time. Like it was the first horror anything to have fucking dolls and lunchboxes like merch. That it put that into popular
Freddy
culture,
towel.
into the zeitgeist in a way that nothing else had before, which you could argue is a shitty thing, because that really led to us having the dark ages of the late 90s, early 2000s in horror.
God.
But at the same time, I would argue that a lot of us, for nerds, maybe wouldn't have been exposed to horror at all if that hadn't happened. So I'm a nightmare pick for sure.
Hell yeah.
That's that. There you go. That's two. That wins it. Not that it was a competition. Well, it is always to Jimmy. But
I win every week, regardless of the votes.
I love that
Jimmy
you.
always walks away a winner in his mind, though.
I was gonna say, I love that you feel that way.
And I do walk home.
All right, so moving down the list of deep and delicious here,
Jesus.
we get to best horror sequel that stayed on point with the original idea. Now, this I just would like to preface, because my pick I really need to explain.
Dive in first, then.
Okay.
You weird bastard.
I would like to say that staying on point to me meant the same, right? Like it stayed in the same universe. It didn't veer too far off from the original story. That doesn't make it a good movie. That doesn't make it.
God, are you picking Boogie Nights again?
No. No. And I would like to also say that I do not subscribe to torture porn in any way, shape, or form.
Dear God.
Agreed. Yeah.
But I feel that stayed on point was Human Centipede. The next sequence.
You know, man, it did not stray far from the original idea.
Let me tell you why. It's honestly in the story. The first one is some sick fucking doctor who's a big fan of ass to mouth and wants to see it take place in real life. The sequel is a guy who fell in love with the idea, who's completely fucked up, mentally challenged.
We've got a copycaterpillar.
We've got a copycat, exactly. So it could not have been more on point. It doubled the length of the Centipede. They went from 6 to 12. If Rob was here, we would know what that meant. And it stayed exactly where the original came from.
You secretly like these movies.
I didn't like it. I was more grossed out by the second one than I was with the first one, because the first one was playing with an idea that had never been touched. Like never. That's just
in your mind.
Well, okay. I don't know. I've never been to China, but Martin is just, how is he going to get himself out of this one? I love Zoom podcasting because now I can see Martin dying in a corner.
He's dying more than I am.
But I just mean if you took a film and you looked at the first film and the second film and you hard critiqued it, Jimmy's just like, dig up, stupid, dig up. You can see him. And if you just looked at it from a mathematical perspective, completely on point, did not veer away from anything. In fact, doubled down on the original to be like, okay, now that we've done this, nobody else is going to do it.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore.
I'm just
This
talking.
is called filibustering. This is what it is.
Like, no, mathematically. Like, look, I can show you the point.
Are you moneyballing this? Statistically, it's a good movie.
It's not a good movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but I'm looking at it through the eyes of the question, not through the eyes of what I love. Now, I could pick a ton of other horror movies, like Aliens is a great follow-up to Alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a horror alien sci-fi movie.
And instead
I picked Human Centipede full sequence. I wanted to have something to talk about, so this kind of does that. So what do you?
I understand that logic. Like, Aliens is, I would say, one of the greatest sequels ever made. It's a completely different movie, though. It's an action movie.
Totally.
Right? Like, it's
Fair
fucking
enough.
James Cameron versus Ridley Scott. Totally different. So I understand that argument. Still, given that that's your argument, mathematically speaking, I feel like there are a lot of better choices.
No, and Rhett, because you're new to the dance, these guys know that I have a tendency to just put one in my back pocket and be like, all right, today's the day.
You won last week.
I did win. I did win with.
I still don't know how. I think the voting was rigged.
Well, I did draw from a hat and randomly picked
I only
it,
voted
but-
for him because I thought I was going to win.
I did not not vote for him at all. I'm like, no, I'm not voting for him at all. I wasn't gonna let him win.
Rhett, just go listen to the episode. It's way better if you get full context than if we try to explain it. But I should not have won because I may have bushed it. I may have rigged the election a little bit. I could have been Florida with a double count. Who knows? But okay, so yeah, so full sequence, human centipede. What else do I have here? I mean, the character himself is definitely a different
the centipede.
No, the centipede.
One character.
I don't know if you can consider the centipede.
Human centipede.
No, guys, no, for real.
Just
No
hear me
worry,
out.
I'll convince you guys.
Okay.
By like my second hour of argument, I will convince you it's a good movie.
We'll be here till midnight. I'm gonna filibuster the shit out of this. But the first character, the doctor, being so depraved and so fucked up, and then taking those same characteristics and then putting it into a copycat, I thought was neat, right? Because like you can't do much with a sequel to this movie. It's shit in every other way, shape, and form. But what they did get away with, I thought, mathematically made sense.
To end off your argument, are you
I'm not done.
front, middle, or back?
Okay. All right, Jimmy, you're gonna crack that open? We're all answering that question now. So, where would I want to be on the human centipede?
Yes.
Front. I don't think there's any
that's the
other.
only obvious
that's the only
answer.
answer. Are we all front? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a
all
front.
right. I'm a front. I'm definitely a front.
I'm a power
To me,
front.
this movie is entirely just that South Park episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember where Kyle hits accept on the iTunes user agreement or whatever, and they're like, "Why did you do that? Like, you didn't read it?"
I read it
and he
every
becomes
time.
part of the human centipede. It's like, what should I eat? Should it be the vanilla paste or the cuttlefish? It's like, do you want a vanilla paste or cuttlefish? Anyway, sorry. That's why as I think of that movie, I can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
So human
Terrible
centipede,
choice.
full sequence. Terrible choice.
I don't know. I don't
Terrible.
know if Mike would be a front because if Mike wants to live the whole Mike experience and
He's a back.
drag it
Wait, hang
out,
on.
he'd be the
Oh
back.
yeah,
You
you're
might
dead
be
last,
back.
dude. You're number 12.
Time out here. What's the Mike experience?
No, because you know how you said you're like with your death, you wanted to live everything out. You wanted to make things last as long as possible.
That's fair.
So if
What did
we're
he
going
say?
by
For
that
long
logic-
pleasure?
Okay.
or
All right.
You'd be a
delayed
middle.
pleasure?
I'd be a middle. If I'm a pleasure to, I'd be an end if that's really the case. I would want it to
Yeah,
pass
we
through.
said you're back.
Wow.
Yeah, you're number 12.
I'm number 12.
That's
Number 12
special.
looks like you.
I gotta get a T-shirt that says I'm number 12. So
Gonna
when
have to
people
shave that
ask,
beard, buddy.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be gross. You're gonna
Nobody's
get so
gonna
many
want that.
smells.
oh my god,
The good doctor will shave it for you.
the good dog.
At
Jimmy,
least by the number 12, though, I feel like it would be like the most refined and tiniest poop.
Yeah.
yeah, it would have gone through.
Like it's been processed 12 times. You'd have that's probably the best. If you're not number 1, I would pick number 12.
I think you'd have a meal by the end of it, getting all the way down the line.
Yeah.
It would be refined so
If you
much.
are not first, you definitely want to be last. Ricky Bobby. You know?
Well played, Martin.
The
Kate.
Micheal Petrow story.
Next on ET. Jimmy, go next. Jimmy, save
Jimmy,
me.
give both of us a point for that. Give both of us a point for that.
Fair enough.
Everybody gets a point today. Yeah, I picked Colton Curse of Chucky, following up the original Child's Play movies. I could have picked Seed. I could have picked Bride.
Yeah.
But these movies are arguably terrible, so I avoided them. I like Seed. I think it's funny.
I love them.
I think they're funny, but Colton Curse, they really just show Don Mancini's how he's really evolved as a director, and the movies are just so different and so much sleeker and shinier, and they look like a Hollywood movie. You know what I mean? And the effects are great. Shout out Doug Moreau, a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, we love that.
Go check out that episode. Yeah, for those movies to come out after Seed and Bride and to be as good as they are is just phenomenal.
It's once you're that far away from the original, it's hard. I mean, it's expected to tie back in. I almost feel that if you've got, say, 5 movies, your first 2 definitely all have to be tied in.
They cast Brad Dourif's actual daughter, Fiona Dourif. Like, that's insane. Like, he really just
that's really meta.
stops.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
meta. But then when you start getting into 3 and 4, then you're getting into writing away from the original plot, expanding the universe.
Yeah.
He didn't know where to go, and I imagine the production company was asking for more movies, and he didn't have as many ideas as maybe he could have.
Yeah, not enough
It's
spaghetti.
tough. He was putting them out. Yeah, not enough spaghetti to throw at the walls. That's right.
You forgot Brad Dourif's official title, by the way. It's always motherfucking Brad Dourif.
You're right. I
Motherfucking Brad Dourif.
Because
apologize.
he is, like, one of my favorite actors, period. Child's Play is one of my favorite horror movies ever. And he is just such a powerhouse on screen all the time. So
Hell yeah.
it's motherfucking Brad Dourif.
He's-
Sorry, continue.
He is a definite character actor that I think gets forgotten on the character actor list. You've got Lord of the Rings.
Never forget.
You've got Aliens. You've got Chucky. Like these are. He's jumping. Like he's the weird fucking doctor in Aliens, and I just love him in
So
that.
good.
And
He's so good.
and playing the creepy slimy black haired guy in Lord of the Rings. I never remember the other characters' names because
Worm tongue.
Worm tongue.
Yeah, like it just. He's a chameleon and doesn't get it. Oh,
He is.
One Flew Over the
And
Cuckoo's
he's so
next.
good as the sheriff in the Halloween, Rob Zombie's
Oh
Halloween
my
movies.
God.
Like Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is fucking terrible.
He's
But
a-
his performance in it is mind-blowing.
He's a poor man's Mark Hamill.
John Carpenter should not have said, "Hey, you
I like
can."
that.
You're right. John Carpenter should not have given him free reign with Halloween 2.
No, not at all.
That was just
Stop
No,
writing
that
your own
was
scenes,
a
Brad.
mistake.
Halloween 1 was a mistake. They were all mistakes.
Okay.
Whoa!
Whoa,
bro.
Boy. Oh boy. I'm gonna throw down.
Fine, okay. Halloween 1 has its moments.
Don't fight the new guy.
skull fuck
you.
Come on.
His dialogue scares me.
I will fight you.
I want
There's
to
got to
see.
be an extension of this Zoom.
Yeah, it's gotta be. You can throw a turtle shell over here or something.
Is that a blue shell?
All right, Rhett, you go next.
I wasn't sure if it needed to be a direct sequel.
No,
Or so now we know.
I don't
Now
think
I know
so.
I can pick later ones.
yeah, loopholes, buddy.
This was hard because I mean, like, Evil Dead 2 is the obvious choice.
That's
I would say.
I think
But
I think
also
Martin
did-
picked it
like,
too.
I was thinking more like, what's the greatest sequel, more so than staying purely true to the original. So ones that came to my mind are John Carpenter's Halloween 2, maybe a bit too direct. Hellraiser 2, though, I often say is one of the greatest sequels ever. Because what should sequels do? It should take the essence, the spirit of the original, and just more, bigger, right? And Hellraiser 2 really does that. Also, it features Pinhead as he wasn't featured at all really in the first one, and he becomes basically the entire franchise. So I would argue that, but I mean, I would be remiss. I know I'm not picking. I'm kind of arguing a bunch, but Dawn of the Dead kind of created the modern zombie movie, but does that stay true to the original? Not so much. But I'm going to pick, because earlier I mentioned Wes Craven. I'm actually going to pick then, now that I know I don't have to do a number 2. Scream 4.
Hell yeah. I love
Scream
me a
4.
good Scream 4.
It's Wes Craven's final film. Teams up with Kevin Williamson again, and I love the original Scream.
Just a back to
it
basics.
Takes the same, like, break the fourth wall, like, meta, very self-aware sort of idea, but it transplants it into the social media age, and I thought was just the most smart, hilarious way. But in the words of Sidney Prescott in the film, what's the number one rule of sequels? Don't fuck with the original. And for me, that's
Yeah.
one of my favorite sequel lines ever. So yeah, if I don't have to pick a number 2, which would have been Hellraiser 2, I'm gonna go with Scream 4.
Scream 4 is a great choice.
Yeah, totally a great choice. They did. I mean, correct me. Is that which? You know what? I am gonna fuck this up. So
Scream 4 is the one where it looks like there's Vaseline smeared on the lens the whole time.
That's not a real descriptor, but okay.
That is not a thing.
It
is
just
not
looks
a
so
thing.
shiny. Why is it so shiny?
Somebody
It's not a thing.
fucked with the DOP's lens that day. They just swapped out the one he wanted, and it was like, here, take the Vaseline lens. This will really add some sheen to the whole.
It is a
I
good
think
movie.
that's
It is.
some of your personal Vaseline use that's sprayed onto your TV. That's what,
That's what it is.
Ah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Scream 1, Scream 2, very, very prevalent. Scream 3 is
Scream
The
2
worst.
sucked.
the
Yeah,
worst.
Scream 3
Yeah,
sucked.
that was with Mekhi Phifer, or was it the sequel? That was the sequel that Mekhi Phifer was in, and
Wasn't it Jenny McCarthy was in number 3?
Yeah.
yeah, Jenny McCarthy was
It was
in
the one
3.
where they were making a movie about called
Yes,
Stab, about
that's
the
it.
Scream story. And
Okay,
that was
yeah.
number 3.
That could have
one
been
sucked.
good, but you know what happened just before that movie's release? Columbine. So they had to cut a lot of that movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that's been going on for a
Okay.
long time then.
So they were receiving production notes out the yin yang and yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, as in all school action sequences that involve death need to be removed, scrubbed instantly, taken out from ever being made. Don't
exactly.
let the
So
sequel light of day.
it was fucked with. They had no chance.
Fuck. You know what? I mean, you. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and Martin, I haven't forgotten about you, but 2 nights ago on Twitter, the new Michael Bay horror pandemic movie was released. Rhett, have you seen the trailer for this?
No, and I don't want to. I fucking hate Michael Bay.
Okay, yeah.
I'll
Well,
probably watch it.
Michael Bay feelings aside, this is literally if COVID mutated in 4 years and it turned into COVID-23.
How many helicopters are in this movie?
So many helicopters.
Yeah.
So many
How many
helicopters.
explosions?
Yeah, that's the
I
Michael Bay
swear,
gauge.
I swear I
How
saw.
many slow walks with explosions behind them?
No, guys.
How many barrel rolls of patients getting COVID happen in these Michael Bay movies?
It's not that, guys. I know how you're feeling, but I solemnly swear that Michelangelo and Bumblebee were in the background. That much I did catch. So, I mean, you know what to expect now. Bumblebee's trying to save the pandemic from happening. It's got Demi Moore, Bradley Whitford.
Mark Wahlberg.
No Mark Wahlberg, actually.
John Cena.
John Cena. But it's too on the nose right now to be coming out. And you bring up this Columbine Scream thing. This is all about, like, we're now locked in our apartments. We can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to do thermal imaging. If you test positive, the government comes and gets you and takes you away. It is all of the shit that the conspiracy theorists right now
What
are
platform is it coming out on? Is
it's
it released in theaters? Or?
feature film. I don't know when it's coming out in theaters because
Who knows?
who knows, but it's a feature film. Check it out after I'm done. It was a point that you like it. Horror movies that have something that may bleed into what's going on in today's society. I now actually feel that they maybe shouldn't be released because, crazy people go see movies. So it might be a good idea to, keep that in mind. But it's just interesting. It's been going on forever.
Doesn't art always reflect life, though?
Yeah, it does.
Every
Good
great,
art.
especially in horror, is that not always a reflection of the time? I mean, all the greatest horror movies, that I love the most came out mostly in the 70s as a reflection of a reaction to Vietnam.
Well, and
I feel like-
yeah, no, you're totally right about that. And then you
Ooh.
add in the fact that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a play on the downfall of America more than it was a horror movie. It's about a weird family who eats people. Like,
And they do a good job of that.
they do a really good job of working
Grandpa's
that
the
into.
best at killing.
Oh yeah, do it, Grandpa.
Anyways, Marty, end us off. What is your follow-up sequel to a horror movie that was just the best?
I thought, like, I was interpreting, like, Rhett, he mentioned it earlier, the pick that I wanted, but I thought it was like direct second one. So I obviously went with Evil Dead 2, just because Evil Dead was originally supposed to be a horror, but it had some silly moments, and I think Evil Dead 2 is where that franchise found its stride.
Hell yeah.
And that's what evolved it into what it is today, and it's amazing. I love it.
It's almost like they went half campy, half serious, and then realized what people liked, and then solidified one or the other in the sequel, which was more serious horror. But Evil Dead it does have that, like, what the fuck is going
An
on
army
here?
of darkness.
Dude, Evil Dead 2 kind of created horror comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It allowed you to have a wisecrack or a witty one-line repartee of some sorts that brought a little bit of elevation to the seriousness, right? Like they knew they scared you, they knew you got your heart racing, but then you could have some comedy,
They gave us the chiseled jaw of Bruce Campbell.
right?
What's not to love?
Motherfucking Bruce Campbell.
This is my boomstick.
Army of Darkness was just so good as well. Yeah,
It
good pick,
is.
Martin.
Such a
so
great
good.
sequel too. Oh, it was so
Give
fun.
me some sugar, baby.
Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, like breaking, like, they definitely they left breadcrumbs behind, it seems, or well, I guess, yeah, Raimi left breadcrumbs behind for 1, then it went into 2, and then he left more for 3. Like, it really is a very planned out, well executed series that there's not too much jump in between.
Right.
Your sequel to your triplicate to your quadruple to your effing furious, whatever you want to.
I also just love this character, like, throughout this franchise, that Ash just kind of exists, and every once in a while the Evil Dead story just, like, intersects with
Yeah.
it. It's just like, fuck, like, oh great, here we go again.
I can't fucking
Gotta
shake
get the
this. Yeah.
chainsaw.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be an explanation as to why or anything. It's like, oh, you fucking touched that book? Oh shit, okay, here we go. You ready?
Why don't I stop touching that fucking book?
Well, the TV show's really good too.
By the way, my password for my Netflix is Necronomicon.
Oh, nice.
You should change that.
Yeah.
now.
I have been recording a video,
Unless
so
we
I
need to
can't
give out
no,
last names. We're not gonna give out last
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And what's your email?
Yeah, just all your credit card numbers, please.
Yes.
That'd be great. We'll,
Just, yeah.
yeah. You want to fund a podcast? Just give me your credit card number. So, we are approaching our final two here. This one I love because it really it allows for us to talk about the shit as well as the good, as opposed to just being the guys who love everything. Because that's really what this podcast does. Like, we have a hard time shitting on movies because we love them so much.
Unless it's
So-
fucking Joker.
Unless it's fucking Joker. A year later, we're still talking about it. So this is fun for us because it's always about propping it up as opposed to ripping it apart a little bit, and not so much in the sense that it's a shit film. It just didn't do what it was supposed to do as a remake. So, and I mean, I think the world is done with remakes. I think we can all agree. Like, start writing some original shit again.
Oh, okay. I see.
You know, like it's great to remake something that at the time, at least in my eyes, they were made when they were made, and then their remakes, well, one of them did well. I don't know about the other one. But I would just like to put on record that if anyone from Hollywood is listening and takes us seriously, which you fucking should, stop with the remakes. Just make original shit. People are dying for it.
It's a sure investment, man. That's why
I
love the brand.
know.
It's you're making a big investment when you fund a film, and they have to bank on nostalgia. And nerds like us, even if we know it's going to be a piece of shit, we're still going to go see it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. So let's start with worst. Let's go low, then we'll go high. Quote unquote Michelle Obama. And so I will take this one and tell you that the remake of one of the most fantastic horror masterpieces, which was Psycho, was absolute fucking shit. It was,
Yes.
and not shit in the sense that it did things that were done to make Psycho the first time they tried to do again, and because Hitchcock paved the way with so much of that film, knowing that they tried to replicate that fell short. It's still the same story. They didn't really change anything, right? But
In fact, sorry to interject.
No,
in
go ahead.
fact, because I love your choice, it is in fact a shot-for-shot remake.
Yes.
Because it's not Gus Van Sant. I forget who.
It is
actually,
Gus Van
made
Sant.
the film, but he was like, it's already fucking perfect. Like, why would I do anything
Yeah.
different? So
No.
they made it shot for shot. But you're right. It turned out to be one of the worst remakes fucking ever, which shows you there's an intangible, almost quality to that original movie that was completely lost.
because it was made at a time where horror movies really weren't a thing, Hitchcock was paving the way for getting out of thrillers and getting more into like the nudity scenes, the blood, the scream, the fact that like I don't know how many melons were stabbed to get the right
Yeah.
noise. Those little eccentricities about a film, if you really can't do that again in a new way, don't fucking touch it. Vince
Don't
Vaughn
touch it.
obviously felt so bad about doing that. Like you can just see it, right? Like it just nobody is Norman Bates. Nobody will ever be
Nobody.
it's and the black and white aspect of it, bringing it into color, I mean showing an homage in those few scenes that they do where it's black and white, but then bringing it into nowadays, like no, the reason it was so good was because it was made during a time that was groundbreaking for horror cinema.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely, and casting a super famous lead and killing her in the first
yeah,
20 plus minutes, and he wouldn't let people into the theater. You weren't allowed to come in if you showed up late. Like the shock of that. This is also the first time a toilet has been shown on film. I don't know if you knew that.
yes, I did
Fun
hear about
fact.
that.
Not the
There's
last
just
time.
like so many. I fucking love Psycho so much, and you're totally right. I didn't think of this remake, but that's a great choice.
The thing that he did too, which was so impressive, is that nowadays they film, like you'll send out your ADs and you'll get your B and your C roll, and they'll film so much, they'll get everything. But he was notorious for being like, I'm only filming what I have to film, so the studio can't tell me what to do. Right? And that's an ingenious way of making a film to keep the money, to keep the bosses out of it. You don't get anything else to play with. It's either all or nothing.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. I guarantee you they had 19 different fucking ways of portraying the murder scenes and the reveal of Norman in his mother's clothes and all of the famous aspects of that movie, they could have sat in the editing room for hours. They had one take of what Hitchcock did, and Hitchcock put so much into that take that he was like, take it or leave it, fuckers. So that's another little, like, so you're remaking something and you're not using the secret sauce. Fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah, totally. He always had everything perfectly planned out to the extent that even if he wasn't on set, they could still do a full tight day of shooting.
Yeah.
He rarely ever needed, more than 1 or 2 takes because he knew exactly what he was doing, months beforehand before he walked on set. Brilliant. There's one thing they added to that remake. There's one scene, one shot they add, and that is Vince Vaughn masturbating, which for me is fucking no. Like Norman Bates
It's implied.
is, to me, very
implied.
asexual,
Yeah.
intentionally asexual. And the one thing they chose to add was just so crass. It was just a general insult to Hitchcock to remake that at all, let alone to change anything.
What a weird scene to add. Like, why say let's do this shot for shot? But I gotta see Vince Vaughn.
That's got to be somebody in the
Well,
studio.
I mean, come on. If you had the power to do it, come on.
Yeah,
got me there.
but that's
What does the world need? This scene.
that's a studio decision over Gus Van Sant. I don't think Gus Van Sant was the guy who was like, can we have Vince Vaughn masturbating, please? Otherwise, I'm walking. I think that was, we need to make this character feel a little,
But you don't know that's not what happened.
I don't know, but I'm hoping that it was some suit who came down to set one day and they were like, hey, what if he jerks
Terrible
off?
fucking casting too. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, it was Anne Heche, Vince Vaughn, and then who played the sister? Who was the?
Forget.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Vince Vaughn is to
Helen Mirren.
redo Anthony Perkins. Like, what?
Well, you got Vince Vaughn coming off of Swingers, like fucking beautiful babies. And sorry for touching Jimmy. I just noticed I put my hand on his hand for some reason. I'm scared. But yeah, like his previous CV does not say, let's make you a masturbating, awkward horror character. I want you to stand up on a table in a diner and start screaming at Jon Favreau about beautiful babies. Like that's what we were getting from you, and now all of a sudden this is it just all in all bad. But I want to bounce this over to you, Rhett, because I've been told that Martin said that you've got all the horror in you. So I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are on this.
So this is worst remake.
Yes, worst remake.
I mean, I want to say anything from Michael Bay's studio in the 2000s, which basically just like, bent our childhoods over without Vaseline. They're all varying degrees of fucking horrible, and they break the cardinal rule that I mentioned before, which is they all fuck with the originals. But if I have to narrow it down to one, I picked the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Not only did it not understand what made the original work, not only did it completely fuck up the tone and add new details. We talked about the Vince Vaughn masturbating. It added the detail of him being a child molester, which I thought was a terrible idea. Not only did it not cast England, and holy shit was Jackie Earle Haley a terrible Freddy.
I love him as an
really
actor.
Fucking terrible movie. Period. Like regardless of what it was remaking and all, the personal connection I have to the original.
Yeah,
it's just a bad fucking movie.
It's
sorry.
I love Earl Haley as an actor, but you're right. He's just not Freddy. He's just
no. It was wrong, man. It was bad direction, bad casting. It was just all kinds of wrong. And this motherfucker, Bayer, the director, who had only made music videos. Before,
Weird.
I watched an interview with him, and I kid you not, he refers to slasher villains as, quote, I wrote it down to make sure I got the quote right, quote, that guy from Halloween, or pause, Jason, or pause, the other guys.
Oh my God.
So leave it to fucking Michael Bay to hire a clueless piece of shit who doesn't even know horror to remake one of the most iconic horror characters ever on screen. Blech. That's what I think about this fucking movie.
I'm with you. It's garbage. I will give it the 1+. I think it's the first kill of the movie where they're in the diner and he takes the knife and it just makes it look like he's slitting his own throat instead of Freddy like having his hand and doing it on purpose, right? But it looks good and I enjoyed that, but you're right, absolutely garbage film.
Absolutely fucking garbage film, like even if it was its own standalone movie,
I'm with
garbage
you.
fucking film. And terrible pieces of dialogue. Like at one point, doesn't she ask, like, was there some sort of connection between us? Like, did we go to school together?
We all went to preschool and have no memory of being 4?
I love your hard take on shit, Rhett. I think
Yeah. Tell me how you really feel, right?
No, the Friday remake was honest. I thought it was a lot better than that. Like I enjoyed it. I like that when Jason runs. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot scarier.
Yeah, well, I actually am not a fan of the Friday franchise in general. But if you're gonna remake one, that's I feel like the hardest one to fuck up. You know?
Right.
Whereas Nightmare is so
Easy
inventive and creative and has such incredible, insane practical effects that we all love so dearly. It has, like I said, such a charismatic villain. Like Jason and Michael Myers, they don't fucking say anything.
Nope.
Freddy is all about England's performance. Like, you're already fucked before you come out of the starting gate.
you actually have to be able to act as Freddy, where Jason and Michael, you just have to be a menacing giant creature.
Can I ask you something, Rhett? How do you feel about Freddy versus Jason?
The movie?
Yeah.
It was shitty. I did not like it at all. I like the idea of the mashups, but same thing with Alien versus Predator. It's like, I feel it's pandering to us as an audience. It's like,
it's funny.
hey, I know you love this stuff. We're gonna put it together, and I know you're gonna buy it. You know, that's kind of how I felt about the vibe of it. It also came in that period of the dark ages that I mentioned, of that late '90s through mid 2000s of horror that was castrated. It's very, like, not only were they shitty movies, but they weren't even gory movies.
I think that was James
the way
Wan.
that they should be anyway.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you. I like the action scenes. I'll say that.
Martin.
Sure, but man, we've got a wealth of material that's more than just okay.
Couldn't you make a good mashup, is what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if you take two great franchises and put them together, couldn't you make a good movie? Like, can't that exist?
See, Martin, it's funny that you say that. Freddy vs. Jason was originally going to be Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, and it could have been something really fun. It just went through again, production hell, where they couldn't decide what they wanted to do, and it shows. But it could have been cool.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I would have wanted to see that movie.
Neuters. Yeah, I would have fucking seen it.
I know.
I believe it became a comic book, or it was a comic book first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
The Alien versus Predator ones I thought were okay. I mean, they
too dark. You can't see anything.
They really did fuck up in editing. That's for sure.
Well, they PG-13'd it, and to make up for the gore, they just made it really dark. And it's
They
like great.
turned
Now,
the lights
the
on.
power was out. Remember the power plant blew up, so I mean there was no light anywhere. They got to make it real.
But like, no, those horror character mashups, I think we're due for another one. I really do feel like it. I feel like it's far enough since Freddy
well, no,
versus Jason.
because they're rebooting everything right now.
Well, okay, yeah, but who do we want? Who do we want to see from either our era?
I don't think I want to see any of it.
No,
man.
you
I don't know.
Like, who could you put with Michael Myers? Michael Myers versus
I'm
you
not
almost-
into it.
Hannibal
I'm
Lecter?
not into the mashup. I mean, part of why I love film, especially horror, is being inserted into a world, the suspension of disbelief, and and being encompassed by the story and the tone and the world that these people have created. And as soon as you do a mashup, I feel like you're breaking that bubble. You're taking that wall away, and I'm not scared anymore. It's too self-aware. It's too pandering. I'm gonna give it thumbs down to mashup.
Yeah, okay, I get it. I can definitely see that. And it's funny how, like, mash two characters together. No, mash two directors together. Yes, right. But it's the creative aspect of two directors that will make something new versus taking two stories and mashing them together and hoping that they stick. There's two different. Yeah, you can definitely fuck one up more than the other.
Absolutely. Unless it was like, I feel like the only time it would work is if it's already kind of self-aware, or if it's like a horror comedy. Like, inserting Ash into something else works because it's already inherently kind of silly and funny. But like, I really, really love the original Halloween, and I love Rob Zombie's remake. But if you threw like Freddy in there, it's like, I don't know, it's stupid.
It's like he got on the wrong bus or something. He got on the wrong nightmare and found himself in the. I don't like this town. They've already got somebody. They don't need me here to plague their dreams.
It's like, imagine if they did like a Jaws mashup with somebody. Would
I like
not-
that. Actually,
That would piss
I'm
me
down
off.
with that.
That'd be hilarious.
Who's the other fish?
Like
Is there another
Jaws
fish?
versus the Megalodon.
Jaws versus the Megalodon.
Ash versus Jaws.
Jaws.
Yes, that's exactly
Okay,
where my mind
so-
went.
No.
Sheriff Brody and Jaws have to team up to take down the Megalodon.
Oh. Okay.
Think about it.
Ugh.
You're thinking about it? Don't think about it.
No, I can't stop thinking about it. I
Don't
can't
think
stop
about
looking at it. Martin, what about you? Worst horror remake?
I gotta go with everything that was remade from an Asian horror movie, like The Grudge and The Ring. I just honestly, for me, because I started with the Asian ones, so I think for me, it just seeing it again. And I think the remakes weren't even that I'm like doing all these hand gestures. The remakes they weren't really that far apart. I just feel like Hollywood at the time couldn't assume people didn't want to read and couldn't do
Boy,
they
don't
weren't
we.
ready for Asian cinema then, and I don't know. I just didn't like them. I didn't think they were good. If you've ever seen the remakes but haven't seen the original, watch the originals. They're amazing.
I've heard
I
they're.
mean-
I have for the most part seen both. I really enjoy Japanese horror. Also like Shudder, Thai horror film, Tale of Two Sisters. I love all that stuff. And you're right, most of them are really shitty, and they're so quick to capitalize. They're so quick to be like, oh, that movie's big over there, great, let's fucking remake it right away.
They do.
And completely lose the essence of the original. But I will argue that no, I really like the Ring remake. I think that
I
is
did too.
one of the better horror remakes, actually.
I mean, I understand where Martin's coming from. It didn't do it. There's just something about that kind of cinema that we can't replicate over here.
What do you mean that
Exactly.
kind?
Asian cinema. What I mean is
Korean cinema, Japanese cinema, Chinese
Korean,
cinema,
Japanese,
Thai
Asian
cinema.
cinema, any of that stuff. They have a different way of telling stories than we do, and we have a very processed, packaged, and produced way of
We
doing
get
it.
spoon-fed
100%.
stories.
Yes, and
But, like,
they
think it's
actually
just-
pull back
oh, go ahead,
and
sorry.
give their audience. They respect their audience, and they know that their audience is more intelligent than we are. We get dumbed down over here, right? So, like that's why it doesn't translate well, I don't think. But what The Ring did was, I think I haven't seen the original, but I've heard enough of this conversation that I can weigh 1 cent of it in. I think the new one kept from what the trailer and shit and all that. I think that fear factor's still there. I just think they went a more Americanized route. Holding
Oh
it
yeah,
again.
the Americanized
yeah.
route was there just because they assumed that the world wasn't ready for subtitles. That's what they made it for. They wanted to make money. They didn't think it would sell here. But like Parasite is the movie
Oh,
Parasite.
so good.
It's living proof that you don't need to remake an Americanized version of like a Korean film because
No, you don't.
Yes.
it worked here. It was one of the best films. Of,
It was
I think,
the best
2019.
film.
I watch movies with subtitles to begin with because sometimes shit is just
Humble brag.
I'm so proper. Everything I watch is in subtitles. No, I'll watch Avengers Endgame in subtitles. I watch everything in subtitles because
Same.
I don't want to miss anything.
as much as everyone thinks Christopher Nolan is gets amazing sound engineer work done, I've never heard Tom Hardy say a fucking word in any of his movies properly. So like I need
It's quite a
subtitles.
treasure you have there in that Herodric cube.
Right? Like, I was born in the darkness. What the fuck was that? Like, everything sounds like he's in an echo chamber. So, whoever's giving away the best sound engineering award to Nolan seriously needs to turn up their hearing aid. Subtitles correct that kind of thing. So, it wasn't like when Parasite came out. I feel if you're afraid of, or if you're not used to watching movies in subtitles, turn the subtitles on everything you watch.
Yeah.
Then it won't even
You're
be a
basically
difference.
it's
Fucking
giving a
difference.
very diplomatic argument to be like, oh, you don't like to read? You have problems
Yeah.
reading?
Yeah.
You
Grow the
moron.
fuck up.
You can't pat your head and rub your tummy at the same time. You can't read the words on the screen that are being said. How many fucking
Wanna see a movie?
hands?
You mean I have to read?
Well, and
English language, please.
I don't know if you guys noticed this. Maybe this is just a me thing, but Netflix has this beautiful way of making the dialogue really quiet and then making the action
Yes.
scenes very
Oh
loud.
my god.
It's like their thing.
I have
you
the
know?
same problem on my sound system. I also have shitty hearing and played music my whole life. Like, so I'm used to watching things with subtitles as well.
Right.
For that reason, I don't want to miss dialogue.
Right.
Dude, I will be on Netflix watching something that I can barely hear.
Mm-hmm.
Then I will switch over to Prime and I can fucking blow my eardrum at 6 on the volume button. It is so
Really?
fucking annoying
Yeah.
that these streaming services will like
why do they want me to listen to it so loud?
Why do I need? Why does the plane crash need to be louder than the fucking dialogue?
Martin, narrow that down though. Pick your most hated Asian horror remake.
The Grudge.
There we go. The Grudge.
Yeah.
The Grudge is
It would be The
pretty
Grudge.
fucking bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I like
It-
the hand.
that was the narrowed point. That was the one I think for me that stood out. I'm just like, because the original was great. I scared the shit out of
Yeah.
me. I couldn't
Scared the
sleep for
shit
weeks.
out of me, dude. Oh
I couldn't
my
sleep
God.
for weeks, man. I was just like, oh god.
And I used to. So when I grew up, my basement had this steps that were like that would come and then turn.
Oh, God.
down
Oh my
to where my
God.
couch was, and I couldn't hang out down there for like a while.
For like a while.
Like it's kind of a weird, somewhat aimless movie in a way, but the scares in it and the imagery in it are still like tattooed. I'm almost getting goosebumps to talk about it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm bringing back some PTSD right now. PTSD right now. PTSD. I'm freaking out. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight, boys.
how did this not
Halloween.
even come up as?
That sound was
Shut
insane.
it down! That fucking sound, man. Oh my god. How do we not be like, what scares us the most? How did that conversation not come up? Okay, The Strangers is mine.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Strangers, because there is no answer. That's what makes it that much more scary.
Did you watch it at 2 a.m. with all the lights off?
Okay.
I fucking love that movie. That's a great
Goddamn.
movie.
So I was watching it in a basement,
Yeah.
and my this is how lazy I was. My computer used to like I didn't know how to set the monitor to stay on long enough. So like I would take a broomstick and lie down on the futon, and then when the screen would go out, I would like get the broomstick and move the mouse a little bit to like get the screen to come back up until I learned that you could turn the monitor
Maybe
on.
Simpsons. Remember Lisa with her pushing, like the Homer with the pushing stick?
Yeah, that's
Remember when he
yeah.
got overweight.
Yeah.
That was when Mike was
Yeah,
doing
totally.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
So I used to do this. So I'd always have like whenever I'd be watching a movie, just imagine me on my futon with a broom on my chest to like get the monitor to turn back on for like a year. And like one day my roommate banged on the door while I was watching The Strangers, and it was right at that scene when she's having a smoke and she's off to the right of the camera, and then the one character walks in and
so
walks
good.
out.
And they don't hit it. They don't hit it with score,
No.
sound, anything, and that was so much classier, so much
Ooh, and
scarier.
It's like
And
a
he's
minute
just
and a
there.
half long one
Love it.
take too.
It is. It's very long, and you get very wrapped into the scene like I did, and he knocked on the door, and I threw the broom across the fucking room, and I turned the movie off and was like, I'm fucking
Is Tamara
done.
home?
Yep.
I am
Are you sure?
fucking done.
I would, and have you seen the sequel, Pray at Night?
No, I
Not
don't
bad.
want...
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Okay, I don't want to... I really think that is one of the best horror movies for my scare factor. I've never been
Oh yeah, man.
more locked in, and it's because of the unanswered question of the just want to terrorize.
And Glenn Howerton from
Oh yeah.
It's Always Sunny
Why are
gets
you
shot
doing
in the
this? Why are you
face.
doing
Yes,
this?
yeah.
Because you were home. There's
Yeah.
nothing more
Yeah.
fucking scary than because you were home.
You were random. You were random because I enjoy ending life. Sorry, here we are. Like
Oops.
that's a premise that's real.
Yes.
Someone could show up to your door and do
just-
the exact same thing
And
in
you
America.
fall for the
That's
characters.
why I love the original Halloween for the same
Mhm.
reason. Is that like most people think there's a connection somehow Michael Myers in that film. There isn't. That comes up later in the franchise.
Yeah.
He's just there to kill shit, and that's fucking scary. He doesn't talk. There's no reasoning. So that's why as soon as we start humanizing those characters, that's what the other thing I hate about all the horror remakes. As soon as you give a backstory, they're not scary anymore.
As soon as they start
Because you were
masturbating.
home is like one of the scariest fucking quotes in horror for me.
I'm with you.
Yeah. When you make them masturbate, I don't really
All
take you
characters
seriously.
should.
All horror characters should masturbate.
Yes.
That's the new rule. No, it's not.
All horror characters should be Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Kennedy said that.
All right. Let's get Motor into best horror remake. I will start this one,
Oh.
and it's for the exact reason that Psycho wasn't great remade. It's because of a time that movie was made was using its resources to make the best version possible. You're limited by camera, lighting, technology, all that. The Fly remake is great
Hell
because
yes.
now you have less campy and less weird and
More
less
fly.
more Brundle fly. You have more story. You have some sexiness to it, right? You've got like it's creepy, it's weird. Jeff Bloom is fantastic because of his oddball sense of nature anyways. like who he is isn't that much of a stretch from a mad scientist trying to teleport shit from one pod to another. Like, I mean, he probably does that in his spare time anyways. They were just like, you wanna film this now? So I've seen the original once or twice, but like her caught in like the web and shit, like just all of like it was just not a movie that was made well at its time because of what it was limited by. So remaking it now and remaking it in the sense that it is slightly horrific. It's a horror sci-fi more than it is a horror, I feel. Sci-fi.
That is a sci-fi.
It's a sick-fi.
It's a biopic.
It's a bi.
Sci-fi.
But yeah, I think it aged well. I think it's always fun to go back to. Watching him eat donuts and then puke them back up so he can eat them again. It's got a real neat, grotesque, gross factor to it. Because like he just eventually starts to pick himself apart. I thought that was cool, like the decay of him coming through instead of it just being like an overnight thing. Boom, I came out of here. It's like, well, no, I'm slowly growing fly-like features and then like I think he gets shot in the end, and then the sequel where like the kid is born with the problem because she ends up walking away pregnant from the like Gina Davis is pregnant at the end, so then she gives birth to
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah, and I think what's his name? It was the guy who was supposed to play Marty McFly.
That's funny.
In Back to the Future.
The ginger, what's his name?
The ginger, yeah.
Marty McFly.
Marty McFly. Oh wow.
Right?
It's all.
Oh shit!
I get 10 points.
That's a big 10-pointer right
What's his name?
there.
Eric.
Estrada.
Estrada. No, not Estrada.
It's not Eric.
I know Eric. Yeah, Eric something. He played.
He's in other '80s movies. He's in Less Than Zero with Robert Downey Jr.
He was in. He's in The Prophecy.
But yeah, they shot a bunch of Back to the Future with him. Hey, and we're like, this just isn't working.
Not Eric.
Stoltz, Eric Stoltz, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. There it is.
Martin gets the point.
Martin gets the point. He played the angel.
Circle gets the square.
He played the angel Michael in Prophecy, and Christopher Walken
He's in motherfucking Anaconda.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
Search for the Blood Rose.
Never
Oh my
weird,
god.
man.
That was talk about nothing.
Great actor, solid actor. It was just like
Was he the guy in Mask?
crazy.
Was it Eric Stoltz in Mask?
Yep, that was Eric
Mask,
Stoltz in
right?
Mask too. Wow, Eric Stoltz did a lot, like 6 films. Anyways, so I did my best. Jimmy, what's your best remake?
I really liked Halloween 2018.
Okay.
I thought
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I love Danny McBride's horror writing, and I think he's definitely going like the Jordan Peele route of starting in comedy and then really just licking his chops when it comes to horror. I think he's doing such a great job. The sound design in that movie is unbelievable. Like they came out with sounds for when Michael appears that remind you of the original but are totally new, and they just draw you into the moment. Like when the lead character, I forget her name and I feel bad about it, but she comes face to face with Michael for the first time. They do like a violin type sound, and it's screechy, but it's also it has like a touch of synth in it too, and it hits hard.
Nice.
The kills
I
in it,
love that
so
movie too, but technically not a remake because it
Oh
is the same character, Jamie Lee Curtis.
shit! You got me there. It's a sequel. Shit.
So what's your B choice? Sorry.
Oh, newbie threw a rock at you.
Come back to me.
All right, Rhett.
Sorry.
Rhett. No, that's
Sorry,
fine. That's
but,
fine.
To quote Saw.
Well, hang on though.
it's the rules.
Hang on though. Hang on.
Mhm.
Technically a remake, new director.
Mm,
That's a Martin
Come back to
loophole,
me.
but okay, all right, fair enough. Martin, you go next.
I'm not like if Brett doesn't like mashups, I'm not really a big fan of remakes, like reboots. Is that?
Yeah.
I'm not like, but I mean, one that I didn't mind was the remake of Let the Right One In. Let Me In with Chloe Grace.
oh,
Yeah,
I
that
like
was good.
That wasn't a bad one. I like this. Like, I mean, I was a huge fan of the original. I like the story, and I from that one, I actually enjoyed.
What's the story? I don't know anything about it.
A very unnecessary remake, because that was
Yeah.
another one of those we just talked about, like the Japanese horror films where like it was 2 years between the original and the remake, and it was like you guys said, it's like people don't want to read, so let's redo it. Throw a new fucking pretty white girl in it, like. But it was a good film. Definitely.
What's the premise? I've never heard of it.
So just like a 12-year-old kid who's like bullied and stuff like that, just befriends this young girl, and there's like a Are you gonna see it? Can I spoil it? She's a
Yeah,
vampire.
you can spoil it.
It's been
So
like
it's
15
like-
You
years.
should see it. See the original. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I recommend it.
So the originals let the right one in?
Let the right one in. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a Dutch movie. Or
It's a-
Sweden?
and that's a
Sweden.
sequel to
Dutch,
Do
yeah.
the Right Thing.
It's Swedish.
Swedish. Yeah.
And then is that the prequel to The Right Stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a NASA film.
Let the right stuff in.
It's
Yeah.
a Spike Lee joint.
All right, Rhett, what about you?
Best remake. This is another hard one because as much as I talk bad remakes, I think there's actually a lot of really good ones. The Fly was on my list. The Thing, which is one of my favorite Carpenter films. The 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's also really good new ones. Like I just saw the Suspiria remake, which I thought was
Ooh.
unbelievable. I loved
Is it good?
The Crazies.
The Crazies was great.
Fright Night, if you've ever seen. Fucking great remake written by Marty Noxon, who was a writer, showrunner on Buffy. I'm a big Buffy fan. But I have to narrow it down, and I actually I picked a newer one, and that's Evil Dead.
The remake was scary.
Oh, the remake. Yeah.
Yeah,
It really turned
out.
it's the one out of all that list that I've rewatched the most. So I was like, well, you got to be honest about your picks. It's some of the most fun I've ever had in a theater, I think, and it's so in tune with the spirit of Sam Raimi, but it's still kind of updating a little bit. It's still a little bit modern. It's a little more serious for the more modern audience.
they went
but
all
it's
horror.
still just, for me, it still felt like an Evil Dead movie. The violence is so over the top, like chainsaw to the face over the top, which is exactly what I wanted if I was ever going to see, an Evil Dead remake. I loved it.
Hell
That's excessive, a chainsaw to the face when you think about it.
I love it. It's so over the top and it's so fucking scary, but it's because it's that Raimi like so much black vomit in your face, like why is it still vomiting sort of moment where you're like, wow, that is a lot of blood. Like it has that still, like, it takes you out of it just enough to be a little bit funny, but it's a fucking scary movie. I loved it.
Jimmy.
Okay, so I kind of went the sci-fi route as well. I picked.
I love how you're trying to take it like you never said.
just
the first
finding
one.
fucking. I'm just grabbing, you know. I went with the remake to the Omega Man. I went with I Am Legend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Not quite a horror movie. Love me some Will Smith. Will Smith at his early 2000s, you know, just
Before he peaked.
right, exactly.
Before he went crazy.
You know, and I love the Omega Man, and I like that I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Because like the original Omega Man had like they weren't zombies per se; they were just like people that couldn't go out in the day, basically, and they would eat you.
Yeah.
So kind of zombies, more cannibals. But I like the way the remake can just switch it up and go the running, scary, I'm gonna eat your face off zombies. Love it. Made me happy. Sad ending. Makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
But no, it is. I think I Am Legend does classify as a zombie horror.
I think
will.
so, right?
I,
Why not?
loosely,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean,
Give me this one.
Yeah, no, totally. A silver platter.
All right.
But yeah, no, it's got your jump scares. It's got your gore. It's
A lot of
got.
people don't know it's a remake.
Yeah, no, they don't. And then like when they find out that it's a
music.
remake, yeah, no, it's. I like the relationship between him and the dog.
Everybody does.
Nice.
How could you not?
Absolutely. That's
Eat your
the
vegetables.
most important of any type of relationship on film. So.
Eat your vegetables.
It's a good
Eat
boy.
your vegetables.
And fun fact, Mike Patton, I'm a big Mike Patton nerd, did all the creature sound effects himself just with his voice.
Sweet.
No manipulation, yeah.
Holy fuck.
You could do a
Whoa.
really none. Wow,
What's
that's
that?
cool. That's a range if he's got no like nothing.
Oh yeah, well yeah, that's what he's famous for. He's like he's the voice chameleon basically. Like all of his bands and everything are all kind of based around crazy shit he can do with his voice. So they were like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that makes
just hire
sense.
him.
He
Put him
was
in a
the-
sound booth for an hour. We'll have zombie sounds.
Don't complicate things.
He was the guy in Police Academy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
How
Steve
psyched
Gutenberg,
are you
right?
guys though for the Candyman remake, Jordan Peele's Candyman?
Oh, I'm
Oh.
very
I'm pretty
excited.
stoked for it. I am pretty stoked for it. Anything that Jordan Peele touches now, really,
It's just gold.
it's gold. He knows. I think horror and comedy are great bedfellows in a way that you
There's
need
a way
some.
to do it right, and he's doing it right.
You need a little bit of
I feel
levity.
like they're both coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're like a glasses through which we can look at the world through our trauma, comedy and horror. Absolutely, I agree.
I was saying earlier, my voice, the reason it's so raspy is I went to Six Pines last night, which it's a haunted barn here in Manitoba. They do it every year, and they do it really well. Martin, have you been? Did you ever go?
Is this heebie-jeebies?
Yeah, I think we went. I'm pretty sure we went together sometime.
Yeah, I know.
I
I've
love
gone,
haunted houses.
It's like heebie-jeebies,
Okay.
exactly. Very similar to that. But you go through the haunted barn, then you go through the circus freaks, and then you go through cabin fever. It's like a good half an hour. And like I was probably, if I had my Apple Watch on, I would say I'd be $1.60 at beats per minute. And I was like shitting bricks beforehand because I hate being scared. But I left and I was like, this is super fun. And I think that the laughter in a horror movie combined with the fact that we like to get our adrenaline up and get excited and get scared, those play well together.
Huh.
Right? Like
Well,
emotionally speaking, you can weave in and out of those pretty well because you want some funny after you've been scared. Makes you feel better.
I'm happy you brought up beats per minute, Michael, because a study just came out from Science that just
Science.u.gov.
that just named the scariest movies based on
Yes!
beats per minute.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have seen this. But
I saw
I'll
the
ask.
article about it.
Okay, so maybe don't answer, but Rhett and Martin, what do you guys think was the named scariest movie based on beats per minute?
I actually have already seen this article,
then
and I
don't
love
answer.
that movie. But I was surprised to find out that was the winner.
There was there
Okay,
was
I
quite
don't know
a
the
few.
winner.
What was the winner?
I don't know the winner either.
The winner
so.
was Sinister,
Sinister.
which I saw in theaters and scared
I
the
love
piss
that
out of
movie.
me.
Scared
Yeah,
the shit out of me in the theater.
hell yeah.
That
Honestly,
Ethan Hawke?
yes, it is.
Yeah, and he's so good in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking 8mm films
It's
that
just
you have to
cool.
watch through that, they scare the shit out of me.
It was very well done. There was a few like Insidious was on that list. I liked Insidious as well. But It Follows was on there, which
Yeah, it
I
was.
can't really see from a beats per minute perspective.
Neither can I.
pretty
After
fucking
what
scared.
it was, but it didn't really. It didn't have all of the cocktail that like the music and the suspense and the pacing and the editing, like all of those things go. If you're gonna make a horror movie, you gotta know how to edit more so than I think how to have to edit like any other sort of a drama or a biopic. Like you just got to be in order. But like to create suspense and editing is just as important as soundtracking it. And
Right.
Your practical effects, like that's where the jarring movement comes into.
Exactly. And for the people wondering at home, Sinister hit I think it was about 96 beat per minute.
Really,
I think that was the average. And then no, sorry, I'm wrong about that. I think it hit somewhere around 80, and then Insidious hit highest moment with like 96. I believe
Oh,
it's when the
nice. That
scary
movie
Red
scared the
Devil.
shit out of me too
Mm-hmm.
in the theater.
I'm with
I
you.
love that movie. I watch it every year, actually.
I haven't watched it in a long time, and I think we're gonna watch it tonight now because I've been like we've plowed through some pretty PG easy horror this week, and I'm like I want to tackle something that makes me uncomfortable.
And they're bringing Sinister back as well.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
They did one sequel that was god awful, but I love the original. And the soundtrack, Christopher Young, who did the score for Hellraiser, he's done a lot of things. He also did what's that Sam Raimi movie about the gypsy curse?
Spider-Man.
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 Spider-Man 3. But dope soundtrack. I mean, like the music that they play when you watch each of those 8mm films. Yeah, highly recommend that movie. I love it. And Ethan Hawke's performance, I think, is really nuanced
So good.
and worth a rewatch for sure.
Like as good as Dead Poets Society.
It's Hawke at his best.
Better, oh Captain, my Captain.
As good as
gonna-
Training Day.
Yeah, because everybody
Training, that's another great movie.
everybody
Is he
remembers all
Gattaca, or
the
does
Ethan
that
Hawke
Jude Law?
parts.
There's both.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Ethan Hawke does a time travel movie called Oh God,
Transcendence?
I think it's
No, no, that's
Transcendence.
Transcendence, yeah.
Have you guys seen it?
No, my roommate watched it a few weeks
it's
ago.
a super good
And
time
he asked
travel
me, should I
movie.
watch that? And I was like, I don't want to watch that.
If you like a really good mind bender that's
All right.
not a Nolan
Oh,
time travel.
Predestination?
Predestination,
That's
that's it.
That's point for
Okay.
Martin.
That's a part for Martin. Port for
port.
A port.
A port.
Martin gets a
Are you
port.
still talking about Boogie Nights?
Back to Boogie.
All right. Well, we have run the gauntlet as James Beaver would say.
Oh, really? What about Final Girl? What about what was the other one?
Oh, you're right. I did you know what? No, I did
There's
jump
Best
Final
Final
Girl.
Girl, and then you guys wanted to talk about your favorite serial killer movies. I'm very lonely. I live alone. This is the most social interaction
We
I've
all
had
live
in a
alone
very
You're
now.
right.
long
No,
time,
no,
so
no,
I
no,
don't want
dude.
you
I got
yeah.
nowhere to be. I got nowhere to be, so it's fine. I'm glad you caught that because that's bad podcast host. Bad podcast host.
That's when
So-
Mike smokes too much weed.
Shut up. So, favorite serial killer inspiration. That's one that we totally missed. I went with Monster. Not necessarily a horror, but I honestly dug. I guess when I read serial killer, I didn't look at the Ed Geins and the Jeffrey Dahmers, so to speak, because those are what a lot of major horror characters are inspired by in some way, shape, or form. So I just went and looked at best portrayals of serial killers and was like, nobody in horror did what Theron did for method acting, for gaining the weight and messing with the hair and just really getting into a serial killer. Whereas inspired by Anthony Hopkins or Jeffrey Dahmer or Ed Gein in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like these things are parts of the character where she was like, I'm going to become a serial killer. So that's why I like the serial killer impersonation or inspiration, I should say, for a movie in that regard. I know it's all about a serial killer who went on a mad spree and killing all the Johns in her town, but I don't think anybody who's ever been inspired in the horror genre has come close, in my opinion. But that's just me. Jimmy.
Huh? Oh, right. Good answer, Mike.
Halloween 2018. No, I'm just kidding.
It's my only. Yeah. You know what? I went a little bit outside here. Instead of picking my favorite, I'm gonna go ahead and say the absolute worst that I've ever seen is the Zac Efron Ted Bundy movie. Extremely. What is it? Extremely vile, totally horrible, and incredibly close. Is that? I think that's what it is.
I think you're confusing. I know you're confusing a Haley Joel Osment movie. No, a Tom Hanks movie, and a Ted Bundy serial killer movie.
Same film.
Incredibly loud and
Extremely close.
extremely close.
Right, and
yeah.
then the Ted Bundy's
Horribly
incredibly
viable, incredibly awful.
Extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile.
That's it. Thank you.
Horrible title.
Worst title ever.
Terrible movie.
Well, no, it was what the judge said when they sentenced him.
Right, but like maybe pick a shorter thing the judge said.
Guilty.
Yeah, he probably said things with 2 or 3 words.
Right?
Not 12.
It's a big marquee
He
for
probably
a movie
said,
theater.
"You're guilty."
Like I
Go
feel so
with
bad.
that.
Imagine the guy who works at the theater that has to put that on the goddamn marquee. Like I just oi. So yeah, I just couldn't think of a worse. Like that movie was just not good and not accurate and yeah.
Not even incredibly close.
I mean Zac Efron's handsome, and if people want to call Bundy handsome, that's a weird thing to do.
It was part of his persona. It was part of how he got.
Dude had a monobrow most of the time.
Well, I know. And then when he fixed
Was
it,
that just like a 70s thing to look past? No, everyone thought that was cool and normal.
it like I'm like a cleft palate or a wart. I mean, it's an odd sort of facial feature but like he was also charming too. So I mean, I get how how they picked casting Zac Efron for his handsomeness made sense. But I watched the movie
I could
too.
not 100% disagree more. In fact, it's hilarious that you picked that as your worst because this was my first pick for the best.
What?
Whoa!
Spooky.
Here we go.
Interesting. No, I love it. Throwdown.
So,
Okay.
So let me I have a secondary pick I'm actually going to pick, but sorry, unless I'm interrupting if you have more.
No,
Sorry.
Dive in.
Yeah.
I love this film. I think it's fucking brilliant. I think it's classy. It's well shot. I think his performance is off the fucking hook. Especially when you see the side-by-sides of there's 2 scenes that are based on actual interviews with Ted Bundy. I think he's perfect. I think it's a challenging film. Very challenging because it's not about Ted Bundy. It's not about the killings. It's about the space around and in between his actual crimes. And when we get to look at him as a person, it's an honest portrayal. He's fucking empty. He's nothing. He's arrogant. He's boring. He's soulless because that's what those assholes are. That's what those pieces of shit are. They're nothing. And that's how it should be, in my opinion. Anything more, anything humanizing, Anything that they would have glorified about his victims, his crimes, I think would be an insult to the families. Not that art has an obligation to do that by any means, but I thought it was particularly tasteful. So that's my take on that movie.
Should I watch it? I think I might have to watch it.
I watched it twice and I loved it even more the second time. But that's the thing, is like, you can't go in thinking this is a movie. It's like watching My Friend Dahmer. I had friends that went and watched it without knowing what it was based on, what it was about, and they were like, "Why didn't he kill anybody?" It's like, it's not about that at all. And I thought it was a really interesting, challenging character study on somebody who has absolutely no character. So I loved it. But my actual pick, inspiration. It's funny because I realized when I was thinking about this that most of my favorite movies are actually on this list. Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Silence of the Lambs, all Ed Gein, as you mentioned, were more obvious choices, right? Ted Bundy for American Psycho, even though there wasn't any likeness really between the characters. Bret Easton Ellis apparently read everything that he could on Ted Bundy while writing the book.
I think
but,
that
sorry.
I think that no, you're right about that. I think that it stems from wanting to make Christian Bale's character so perfect, which was what was they were taking the fact that people thought Bundy was so perfect and so charming,
Yes.
and they put that into
So charming, so good looking, so
Yeah.
smart, all this stuff. But
Yeah.
in reality, he's fucking nothing. He's forgettable. He's a nothing, right?
Exactly. So that's what they wanted to make the exterior of Christian Bale's character in American Psycho, to show that that's your mold.
And if Zac Efron taught us anything, it's that we're all in this together.
But so to pick, because I have to pick, I'm gonna go with the Gein. Psycho really, I feel like, captures the kind of the pathos of Ed Gein, because it's a sad story, right? Silence of the Lambs really captures the meat suitiness aspect of Gein.
Oh, that's right.
But I feel
does,
like Chainsaw gets both, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is for sure one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. And Leatherface is as terrifying as he is sad. So
He is very sad.
He is Texas Chainsaw.
He is really sad in the fact that he's
sad boy.
He's kept in the basement. He's like, I mean, he's pushed away from society because of his bloodlust, but he's a sad boy, and there is something in a serial killer and his affinity for his mother, and you know, it's very Oedipus. It's very Greek tragedy. It's one of the longest running stories you can tell in movies, right? The mother-son dynamic. But what's interesting about it is that Texas Chainsaw really got the house right, I think.
Yes.
In comparison, like every movie I've ever seen where Ed Gein's been the inspiration, I'm like, where's
the chicken room?
Where's the chicken? Well,
totally.
not the chicken.
Yeah, the chicken room. Yes.
Well,
and,
okay.
You know, that production designer. It's worth reading. What's his name? Gunnar Hansen?
Yeah, Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah, so his book, he talks a lot about filming it, which was disgusting. It was super dirt cheap, right? Production.
So
it was
hot.
one of the hottest recorded summers in the history of Texas. And he's wearing a fucking meat suit made out of actual fucking meat stuff. So he stank so bad. And he didn't shower, he had the makeup on, whatever. People avoided him on set because he stank so bad. But that production designer made that entire house out of shit that he found, like, in the
On
area.
farm.
He would go out and get roadkill and then, like, dress it up and put it in a cage.
And
he'd go out and actually just, like, get guts and shit. So the smell of this house apparently was like nauseating.
90 degrees, covered in
I love, we
raw
talk about
meats.
practical effects. I love that because it's actually made from actual shit.
It's practical.
You know what I'm saying though? Like that, well, you can feel that. I feel like it comes across on screen.
It adds to the actors. They're
absolutely, yeah, the performances, sure, but I feel like as an audience, because earlier one of you guys was talking about could have been done with CGI versus the practical. Maybe it was Child's Play we were talking about, whatever. But I feel like that comes across on screen, man. And I'm practical all the way. If you can do it, do it. Because having something real on screen, I feel like incites something real in us.
You know what? They literally threw shit at the wall to see if it sticks.
Hey.
Okay. Point completely. I take it. I'm
on fire today.
No, it's just I with Ed Gein, I've always been like, where's the lampshade made of human skin? Where's all of the things that he did to his mother and all of his victims, and you know, just decided to go interior decorate? Like, where's all that stuff? And every serial killer that's had that, that was a huge thing about the case, that was huge into them just like looking into his psyche and breaking the mind of, the Mindhunter, right? Prime example that just got canceled on Netflix. So great with serial killers, but like that really told people who this guy was. And to forget those things in the movies that you say your character was inspired by, Texas Chainsaw Massacre just was like, nope, we're gonna make that. It might not be the things that Gain did, but it reminded you that that's why it was inspired by Ed Gein. I thought that was...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's such an... I'm a big serial killer nerd too. He's such an interesting case because he only has 2 kills confirmed, so he wasn't really a serial killer. So exactly what you said is when they go back to the house and find like the Texas Chainsaw House, basically, and we still talk about this shit. He's still considered one of the craziest, most insane, depraved quote serial killers of all time from the 1950s. But he only killed 1 or 2 people. Yeah. So it's just the level of insanity of the Buffalo Bill, I'd fuck me, like wearing a fucking meat suit because he wants to be his mom. Like this, I mean, you can't make that shit up.
No, you can't. And I'd fuck me so good. Put the fucking lotion in the basket.
Michael, put your pants back on.
Put the lotion in the basket. Yeah.
It puts the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
Joe Dirt got out of it.
Did you see that South Park episode where Cartman really wants to play Lambs, the game Lambs, and it's just him kind of dressed like Buffalo Bill while somebody's like down inside something, and he just keeps saying, "Puts the lotion on his skin and gets the hose again. Puts the lotion on his skin and gets the hose again."
I want to now. All right, Marty, what about you? Favorite serial killer?
I was gonna go. I actually wanted to mention Mindhunter. I think just for I know we do movies, but I just can't believe that show's canceled because I really enjoy the actor who played Ed Kemper. I got chills.
Yes.
When they were interviewing him in the show, he was just this big,
I heard it's
really guy.
Good.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's canceled, but they might bring it back. Who knows?
It's canceled because it's too expensive to make right now.
David
It's just
Fincher's
about
too busy.
how the FBI basically tracked how they fit the profile of a serial killer today. It's them coming up with how to do that, and they just interviewed a bunch of serial killers from that time, which was great. But yeah,
no, it is a sad shame, and one day maybe we'll talk about TV. I really want to. I just
Well, and the thing nobody was asking these killers why they were doing this. They were just like, okay, he did it. That's jail.
Yeah, yeah, and that's jail. Let's
you get
not
jail now.
Yeah. Let's not look into society and see what's broken about it. Let's just jail. Put them away.
Wow, that's gross. Off to jail.
Jail for you.
But what's your killer, Martin?
Ed Kemper, he said.
So Ed Kemper's your pick. Okay, no, that's okay. Yeah. Oh, I missed that. Sorry. Okay.
Actually, Ted Bundy too was huge for me for serial killers because I was in LA.
So big for me.
Inspired you.
I was there when he was doing all the killings.
Really?
Yeah.
That's when you? Oh, that's
I
right.
didn't notice it because I was 3. Yeah, I was 3, but my mom
Let's just say
my dad worked nights, so it's my mom and me pretty much overnight while this was all happening, alone in an apartment in downtown LA.
Let's just say, Martin. Let's just say you were not his type.
Not so much.
Yeah, I think you would have skipped that house. That's a sure bet. Okay,
I
Jimmy.
didn't know. It was it was just weird that my mom had to go through that by herself because my dad was doing the night shift and stuff. So
Jimmy.
Oh, I gotta agree with Martin. Mindhunter was just it's unfortunate that David Fincher is too busy and it was just too much money or whatever.
It's David Fincher? Fuck, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Oh, it's once they season 2, I think even picks it up quite a lot. But just adding more interviews and really giving us what we want to see.
Yeah, it's Rhett, for a quick shot on it. It's the overview and birth of the psychological profile
criminal profiling, right? Yeah.
the criminal profiling unit.
Right. Nobody was asking these questions.
These are the 2 guys who they give credit for inventing it, whether or not they're based on actual truth or anything. But it's the history of the FBI profiling program, and they have to ask all of the guys who've done crazy shit why they did it. So they give you all the interviews. You get Ed Kemper, you get Charlie in season 2.
Oh yeah, they give you Charlie.
And it's the same guy who played Charles Manson in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Too.
He does a good job.
Good job. Yeah.
Berkowitz.
Yeah, Berkowitz. The guy who played Berkowitz was fantastic.
almost identical to him. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was very scary. So I mean, if you're into FBI profiling and the mind of serial killers,
Worth
Definitely.
a watch.
2 seasons, yeah, you'll get sucked in. It's not a definite gone, but you're right. Too busy, too much money, not the right time. And I think streaming services can ask for that of their.
Well, I hear David Fincher's directing more movies for Netflix, and that's the reason.
Oh,
he can't do.
well, Mank is coming out
Right.
fairly soon, right?
So
that's
he's a
gonna
busy
be
guy, and it
busy.
sucks. But
Well, they
He's
love
also
did.
pretty famous for shitting out his budget.
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah, that's whatever. It's not my money, says David
Yeah,
Fincher.
exactly. Not my problem.
To quote David Fincher.
All right, well, okay, so serial killer, check.
That was good.
That was fun. I liked that.
Final girl, I think, was the last question, right?
Yeah, well, Final Girl and Would You Rather. Those were the two. I was about to head
Oh,
to
yeah,
Would You
right.
Rather,
Can we
but
do the Would You Rather? I like that movie.
Let's do a Would You Rather. Those are fun.
let's do
I
Would
like
You Rather,
those.
and then we'll end on Final Girl.
Are you going
'cause
to do
that
the
makes-
scenarios from
Right.
Would You Rather?
I was thinking about it,
Okay.
but then I
Oh.
just picked random scenes
Okay.
from horror movies and compared the two. So
Yeah, that's the idea, right? Is that, like,
Yeah.
would you rather die in this scene or die in that
Well,
scene?
How would
Yeah,
you rather
movies,
die?
right?
how would you rather die is kind of so yeah. So the first way I went with was either having to put up with the final scene in Jaws, or dancing in the sewer with It. Like, what would you rather have to go through? Not so much die.
Jaws or It?
Yeah, because Brody and what's his
Richard Dreyfuss.
Richard Dreyfuss, who we never remember his name. Brody and Richard Dreyfuss survive, and we're down. Aaron would know instantly if he was here. The captain's name. Someone throw me the captain's name.
Shaw.
Can't
Is
remember.
it Shaw?
Shaw. Robert. Well, Robert Shaw plays him.
Captain Robert Shaw.
Oh, we're
I don't know.
bad humans from
Yeah,
that
we're
point.
bad
point.
people.
That's okay. Me and Jim smoked weed, so we're
Good
fucking.
movie, though.
Yeah, it's just there's only 2 of us playing this game.
Email us. Get a point.
It's
Yeah.
Quint.
It's Quint. Thank you.
Captain.
So
Yeah.
Quint's gone. So Jaws is over. You can overcome Jaws, and you can overcome
Richard
It.
Dreyfuss, Matt Hooper.
Matt Hooper. Hooper. Hooper.
Well
Watch the
done.
line there, Hooper.
Watch the line, Hooper. Thank you. I knew one of us was going to get it. It's just no.
You know, Mike, the clown thing and how it would prey on your fears is too much. And I would say if Brody can overcome his fear of the water, I can do Jaws as well.
You can. Would you want a bigger boat?
You know, we're going to need a bigger boat.
That is what you call a setup, ladies and gentlemen. Rhett, what about you?
Yo.
Jaws or Cousin It?
I'm the thing that actually legitimately scares me in life is supernatural, like spirit stuff in general. Sharks don't scare me.
Right.
Sharks.
So
fuck
yeah,
you,
but
sharks.
although to be fair, I mean we're talking Tim Curry, and I would let him do just about anything to me.
We've all seen Clue.
But I'm gonna go with Jaws though, because I feel like sharks are not scary. As great as that film is, and it's super exciting or whatever, but like at no point was I actually scared. So yeah, let's blow up a shark. That sounds fun.
Woo.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeehaw.
And I mean, props to the fact that you can't really give Spielberg props for not having the shark available sooner. I mean, the magic of Jaws is that it's 2.5 hours long, and you're not introduced to the main character until the third act, and that's only because of mechanical fallout and just bad engineering. It has nothing to do with the plan, but those are the little things that, like, the magic that happens on a set makes that movie that much more terrifying, because it's impending doom. Whereas if the shark had been there in the first act, like, truly seen,
Big Bruce.
we'd be fucking Bruce. We'd be really like fucking fed up with the shark by the third act. I think you'd be like, just
100%,
kill this
man.
fucking
It's
thing.
the monster problem, and it's the like if you show the creature earlier on, I'm not fucking scared anymore. It's stupid, right?
Yeah.
When she's getting eaten in the Twilight scene near the beginning or whatever, and she's been dragged around the water, like, yeah, that's fucking scary, man.
Mm-hmm. That could happen.
And I don't need to see the shark to know the shark is there.
Right.
Exactly.
I read.
Trust me. I read movies all the time.
I read movies every day. So I'm a movie reader, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Ooh, we get it, Mike. English is your first language. Ooh.
Okay. Martin, what about you, buddy?
I'm going shark, man. Like I'm in the same boat as Rhett. Like the things that scare me the most are things I can't punch. That's what scares me.
Okay.
Yes. That's a great
I'll
explanation.
fucking punch a shark
for
in the
my fear.
face. Like I'll punch a shark right in that stupid eye of his, and I'll die, but I mean, still, at least I can be punching it while I'm dying.
Which president said that? We have nothing to fear but the things we can't punch.
The only thing we have to fear
is the shark
unpunchable.
itself. Oh shit! I love that answer. That's if I can't punch it, I'm not afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really. I gotta start looking at life like that, buddy.
Can I punch that?
I would. I mean, sitting here on the couch, I would like to challenge my fears and see if I could get over them. I think I'd rather dance with it than the shark because
What would be your fear?
no more cheeseburgers allowed in the movie theater. Martin, did you tell Rhett about that? Did you tell the
Oh no, I haven't told him
About your crippling addiction?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean Martin acts like he's a McDonald's addict, but he's really not. Like he eats healthy. Whereas
define healthy. Yeah.
well, okay. Whereas I will go to the movie theater and I'm like, I'm above popcorn and soft drinks. I am a connoisseur of movie time snacks, so I will go get 4 double cheeseburgers from McDonald's and bring them into the movie theater and then sit down. And I mean, I've been doing this pre-COVID, so like when the movie theaters were open for a minute, there's like tons of room around me, so no one's having to put up with the
whole theater reeks of McDonald's.
Yeah, like
when
the
you do
whole
that.
theater.
It's so man.
So like,
You know what? I'll just say this: it's not. You know what? That's not your fear. It's that it's no shame. There's no shame. That if it attacked your shame, it would be McDonald's burgers. That's your biggest no shame thing. You just have no shame. You bring it in there. The whole theater reeks of cheeseburgers. Everyone's looking around. Why does it smell McDonald's in this theater?
You're that guy. I know that guy. That guy's weird. You're the guy that's like in the middle of a movie or like the middle of like a Greyhound bus ride. And this is a real story in my life. A lady just like reaches into her purse 2 hours into a bus ride and pulls out a McDonald's burger.
yeah.
You're that weirdo.
I'm that guy. I'm
man,
totally
I
that guy. So like imagine like 3 years ago, movie theater, me 4 cheeseburgers sitting there eating like Hobbs and Shaw. I ate 4 cheeseburgers. I know I did because Mark, my buddy, who like is on the show
Friend of the
show, never heard it, never knew it existed. We talked about it on the show, and then the first time we went to go see a movie together, I was like, I can't not have 4 cheeseburgers. Like that would be weird.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It's double cheeseburgers, by the way.
You
Double
paid
cheeseburgers.
$80 to see Hobbs and Shaw and pulled out 4 cheeseburgers.
yes, that's a real story.
It's probably $90 because they were double cheeseburgers, so that's like those are like 2 something.
This is all coming together. I feel like I've gotten to know you guys really well over the last couple hours, and this is all coming together for me now. So it's gonna show up and be like, "Your darkest fear," and you're just like, "Whatever, dude." Pull out a cheeseburger.
So yeah, I would tangle with it. All right, so the next one is removing the devil and Regan from The Exorcist, or having to hang out with the old lady and getting some hot tub hugs from The Shining.
Ooh.
You know, nothing wrong with hot tub hugs. I could just put them in the box in my mind.
100%. I'm all
Yeah.
hot tub hugs. I don't remember the last time a human being has hugged me. So this is like this has a pandemic twist to it. I'm taking hugs. I also am like I have a problem with puke, and so I feel like I'm guaranteed probably more puke from Regan. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Other
I'm
people's
going with
puke.
hot
Yeah.
tub hugs because you're still in the hot tub. You know, at the end of the day, you're still in the hot tub.
Well,
also, she was super hot for like 10 of those.
Yeah, but no.
67,
You don't get the hot tub
Just don't
lady.
open
You
your
get
eyes.
That's fine. I'll take any hug. That's fine. I'm fine with
okay.
it.
I want to have the hot tub. She's not even in a hot tub. She's in a tub, but it's obviously a tub full of hot water. So
But you
Let's-
said hot tub.
I know
You
I said hot tub.
in this
Yeah.
question.
So
lady.
you gave us a hot tub in this, so why would we not?
You know,
Yeah.
a lady in tub in The Shining, or having to deal with Reagan's possession in The Exorcist. So obviously puke is out. I get that, but like
It's like demon puke too.
it's like demon puke, but
Yeah.
like
That's worse.
It gets everywhere.
Jimmy-
Just like sand.
Jimmy says that you just close your eyes, and we know that she's missing flesh in some pretty important places. I'm sorry, I can't close my eyes that tight.
All right.
Like I can't. I would never. I would close my eyes so
know.
tight they would turn. My eyeballs would turn inside out. Like
Regan's gonna say horrible things about your mom.
she's gonna tell me to suck cocks in hell. I've already heard it before. I'm fine with it. So
He's gonna
like,
Let
berate
Jesus
you
fuck you.
emotionally.
well,
Yeah.
no, I know she's gonna get inside my
He'll
head.
verbally berate you.
Martin, I'm a child of
Hot tub
divorce.
lady
I'm
doesn't
already,
speak, right? I don't think she speaks at all.
Martin, I'm a child of divorce, buddy. I've already been fucked up enough. Regan, she's late to the party. Okay.
Single child, white Michael.
Yeah. I'm
See,
not
now I'm
saying. Hey,
envisioning you like in that room, and she's like, "Let Jesus fuck you" or whatever, and you're just like pulling out a cheeseburger.
yeah, no, single white child, only Michael. I know, I get it. Raised privilege, but what I'm saying is,
white child.
it's like the aspect of the divorce. Oh shit! How did this get socioeconomical so quick?
I didn't think the show was gonna be this funny.
Oh, I love it. I truly love it.
Because we were talking about horror. I was like,
I would want to deal with Regan. I think I could.
Yeah.
I like you don't challenge if you don't challenge the species doesn't get stronger. So I need to. I would rather
Mike, what have you done to challenge the species lately?
He's got you there, man.
make a podcast.
Whoever was in the theater with him definitely got challenged.
That's me.
Can you imagine sitting there and like smelling my McDonald's and then
Yeah, I was there.
No, I know, but then wanting it, like
Yeah.
you're like a row over, and then you're like really jealous, and then your whole movie is ruined because all you smell is the thing you want, and I haven't. Like,
Yeah, jealousy is what would have ruined the movie.
yeah, like, not the smell.
Not the fucking smell.
Back to Regan. So
Yeah.
we all know you can become an
Dude,
ordained
did you do
minister.
that? Like, imagine doing that to like a movie like Schindler's List, like bringing like 4 cheeseburgers to like that movie.
And he
That
would.
be as bad as making
I
out
would.
with it. Jesus.
No,
He
It's gotta
would
be
do
that
it.
slow, like the awkwardly long unwrapping. So it's like the sound of unwrapping for an obnoxiously long time in the middle of the movie. 'Cause you know that cheeseburger's been sitting in his pocket for at least an hour. Like,
No, Rhett, no, hang on, man, hang on. I'll pull them out and stack them on like
The armrest.
the arm, like the cup holder, and
oh my god.
and then like I'll do like one per act, and then like maybe two, and I'll do one in act 1, 2 in act 2, and 1 in act 3, something like that. Like
Jesus Christ.
there's a method to getting fat in a movie theater.
You're an
it's-
issue.
I've never thought about
Everyone's
this.
shaking their heads.
The white,
This is a would you rather right there. Would you rather have to sit next to Michael pulling out these cheeseburgers in a theater,
Or face
would
a
you
shark
rather...
in an ocean.
Or sit with
No, I was
Robert De
gonna say,
Niro
would you
from Cape
rather watch,
Fear.
I'd
honestly-
rather watch Hobbs and Shaw.
I'd honestly
easy.
rather sit with Robert De Niro. Yeah.
Oh, did you guys didn't hear that? Jimmy's like, it's either sit next to Michael with 4 cheeseburgers or sit next to Robert De Niro from Cape Fear.
There it is.
And he's like, it's De
'Cause you're
Niro.
still next to De Niro, but from Cape Fear.
And it just smells like
So,
cigar.
definitely De Niro.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's get back on here. We got to finish this. We got one more thing to do here.
Okay.
And those cheeseburger talks make me fucking hungry. So,
Yeah.
so we got So I would go Regan, removing Regan. You guys, I think everybody would go hot tub lady.
Hot tub time machine.
Hot
Hot
tub.
tub hugs.
Hot tub hugs. Okay.
Give
all
us a
right.
hot tub, Mike. We're gonna take it.
All right. Okay, so what would you rather have to put up with? And in this way, I'm asking you, would you rather be Clarice being chased with Buffalo Bill with night vision, or having to go through the nail scene in A Quiet Place?
Mm.
Oh,
Am I
I'd rather be
pregnant?
chased by Buffalo Bill because I'll fuck that guy up. Because am I myself or am I Clarice?
Ooh.
Or you
I'll
have
box
to,
the shit out of
you're
that
well,
guy.
you're yourself, but you'd be in Clarice's shoes.
Oh, but I'll box the shit out of him. I got cardio for days, boy.
He's not a shark.
There's not a problem Martin can't solve by punching.
Hey, it's Sean Connery.
That's good.
That's fun though. I like that. I like that pick.
That's
All
a
right.
good one.
So okay, so you're going with
Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill,
I
Martin Buffalo Bill, Rhett Buffalo Bill.
I'm gonna go Buffalo Bill, yeah, because I really want to see the meat suit. I'd be happy to be part of a meat suit.
it'd be an
And
honor.
yeah.
I'd go
Also, torture, like torture freaks me out more than he's just gonna kill me because he doesn't want to, he's not a process killer. He's a product killer. So he just wants my meat. He's probably gonna kill me quick. Whereas like suffering through pain and having to be quiet, I feel that's shittier. Mostly meat suit though.
mostly meat suit. 70-30.
Mostly meat suit. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'd go quiet place nail. I've stepped on a nail before.
Are you,
Mike,
pregnant?
you like to extend.
Are you pregnant in this scenario?
I know. Yeah.
Am I? Well, I didn't change science. I just changed where I was.
So you are pregnant.
Tetanus shot?
Yes, I'm pregnant. Yes, I've had a tetanus shot. I've stepped on a nail. I think it's easier to be quiet when you're pressured than I can't see Buffalo Bill. Like if it's me, I'm not applying Clarice's FBI training. It's me, right? I'm not.
Right.
I was at Six Pines last night. Shout out to Six Pines, and Shauna had to guide me through because my glasses were so fogged. I had my mask on, and I couldn't really see where we were going. So complete pitch black dark. Fuck no. I'd rather step on a nail and bite my tongue a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
Not being able to see is scary.
Saw, inspired by, kind of.
Oh.
Okay. So it's either or from a Saw movie, and we've talked about this one before. Heroin needles or reverse bear trap. Which one do you think you could deal with and get out of? So completely, like in this way, you beat the reverse bear trap or you get through the heroin needle pit. But which one do you think you'd fare better in?
Ooh.
Heroin needle pit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You used heroin needle pit.
Yeah.
You're not thinking
I
about
have a
your
needle
future,
phobia,
son.
so I'm definitely not picking that.
Yeah, same.
All right.
But that's a different question though, because you just said I think I'm more likely to make it through, and that's different for me than which would I rather go through. Because I think you're right. I think I'm more likely to make it through the needles, but I have a big needle phobia as well, so I think that would I want to pick the bear trap, but I feel like I'm less likely to survive it.
Well, because
right.
with the bear trap, you have to dig the key out of your eye, right?
Exactly. So there is some sort of pain you have to go through.
That's not happening for me.
That's not happening for you?
Not going to get even close.
Okay. So you're going to go AIDS, but I still have my sight?
Exactly.
Okay.
Magic Johnson's lived with AIDS for like...
No. Well, that's really what it is. I mean, that's either you can't see and you survive.
AIDS or eyeballs. AIDS, eyeballs.
Or you get AIDS or some sort of venereal
or
disease.
my jaw snaps into a whole new place.
That's, well, true. And I mean, one's outcome is total death. The other outcome is pending death, right?
Yeah.
I would go. I don't have a problem with needles. Like me and Shauna have stuck each other with vitamin B before.
I was gonna I could have gone either way with him. Like, what are you guys talking?
Yeah,
about?
like I've given her a needle. She's given me a needle. I've given myself a needle once, I think. Yeah, I fucked that up. There was a little squirt.
Oh my god!
But like, I did stab my own quad with a needle once.
I can't.
But so I'm okay with like. I mean, you're right. Magic Johnson survived medical nowadays versus,
right
30 years ago. I'm sure as long as I didn't get the common cold, I'd probably be fine. So, yeah, no, I'm going needle pit.
Okay.
Needle pit.
Okay.
And then reverse.
We have a tie.
We have a tie. So.
Although if you choose the bear trap, I know it's going to be a really fast death.
That's fair. Almost instant.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you could you dig into your eye to get it off your head?
No, I think it's got to be needle pit.
Okay, so then needle pit. Martin, needle pit.
No, I'm still going with bear trap. I'm just gonna say I'm done. This is it.
Just gives up.
That's kind of where my mind was too. It's like, well,
let the
I had a good run
through the last little bit of my life, and we're good to go.
They'll always talk
it's been
about
great,
me.
guys. Yeah.
All right.
That would be no fun for Jigsaw. Like, they're
Yeah,
just sitting there. They're just crying.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Martin's not fighting back. He's just sitting there crying.
All right, so the next one on the list is 28 weeks later or Dawn of the Dead zombie scenario. Which zombie scenario would you rather handle? And that what I mean by that is all encompassing in the story. Would you rather be going through the beginning of it or coming into halfway through it because you've been in a coma? Because that's for
Dawn
28.
of the Dead. I've had a huge issue with how fast and quick they left the mall. Like, I think they had no real reason to leave the mall yet.
No.
They could have stuck it out a little bit longer. Like, I know there's probably no help coming, but at least exhaust your resources and then get the fuck out of there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, drain this bitch for all it's worth, and then
like I'd be like, okay, you guys are leaving. I'm gonna stay here.
Yeah, because I have everything I need.
Now I have more food because you guys are gone.
And I didn't have to kill you.
Nope. They're not getting in.
Yeah. No, it's a mall.
Yeah.
No.
Anything you can think of, you're like, go to the mall.
All right.
It's already there.
All right.
Done. Got
Yeah.
it. Okay, so you would rather go through Dawn of the Dead than go through
Yeah.
28 days.
Once the
20
mall's done, I can just, go
20
out quietly.
I should mean 28 weeks later, not because 28 days later is the sequel, but 28 weeks later where like you just kind of you weren't there to watch it all kind of go down.
Right.
You just woke up and it all kind of happened, but
See, I don't like that.
that's more rural. That's more it's the UK, it's England, right? So it's a different scenario altogether where Dawn of the Dead was America where there's malls on every corner, so you can leave one and find another one probably, but
It's the mall next door.
you know what I mean? Like there's a Burger King, a mall, another Burger King, a Wendy's, a mall, Five Guys, a
Always
mall.
about cheeseburgers with you, huh?
Always.
I can bring anything back to cheeseburgers, man. I really can.
You really can.
So I'm gonna go Dawn of the Dead 2. I really think that it not the remake, but just the whole
sequel.
scenario. Just being in a mall seems a lot more practical than trying to fare across the countryside and travel, right? Like just plant your ass. Even though
Yeah.
that isn't what they do, it's technically the easiest way to make it through it. What about you, Rhett?
Yeah, definitely Dawn of the Dead. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it's like a fantasy for me when I was younger. The idea of being in a completely empty mall where you can just run around and steal shit, or you know what I mean? Like that's already super fun. Plus, you got all the supplies, like you said, plus the protection. But more important factor, slow zombies.
Yeah.
28 days later, fast zombies. So I feel like you got time to prepare, whatever it is. Like, oh shit, there's zombies here. Cool. All right, we got 2 minutes to set up. Whereas 28 days later, it's like, yeah. So that's scarier. I go Dawn of the Dead for sure.
Martin.
Does that mall have an orange Julius?
Almost.
I'm picking the fucking mall for sure. I'm going to the mall. The mall's the easiest one. It's easy to protect, easy to survive. Slow zombies are good too as well.
Sweet.
hmm
Yeah, we're good. We got it all.
Yeah, we're not doing
yeah.
a 3-hour Joe Rogan, are we?
No.
Dear God. Oh, I'm
I got one more of these, and then we'll get into Final Girl, and we'll call it a day. This one was: which one would you rather spend a night in, the Amityville Horror House or the 13 Ghosts House?
Fuck.
Am I George Lutz?
Neither.
Am I George Lutz in this scenario?
Well, George Lutz just happens to be there, and that's what
Jimmy
happens.
Skinner playing George Lutz.
Yeah,
I have the hair for it.
no. What I'm getting at is you have to spend a night there as you. So if
Okay.
you spent a night there, technically whatever happened to George Lutz happens to you.
George Lutz, his experience was over like days, right? So I'd be fine one day. I might go a little crazy, but
Okay.
Coming up hard.
exactly.
Yeah. Didn't really think of this question. I should
No,
have
you did
condensed.
not.
I should have condensed the whole movie into one night.
I got you.
I win.
I'm going with Jimmy's pick.
Wait a minute, Rhett. Do I have a third answer on that one?
Yeah, it's got to be Amityville. Yeah, the 13 gates. It's too much. It's
too much.
13 things. Let's just give me one thing. Yeah.
just give me just one ghost.
One ghost at a time.
Yeah,
Please.
one
Yeah.
fucking
just let you handle one. That's fine.
one death curse at a time. I'd rather do Amityville Horror House myself too.
Yeah.
It just mostly because it's built on a burial ground. It's spirit related, where
Yeah.
like 13 ghosts is like they're there. They're just kept behind. Like you can only see them through a special set of glasses, and like they're it's activated. Like it feels that they're more creatures than they are ghosts. So I feel like it'd just be like, fuck you, spirits. Like really,
That'll show him.
you know, I'm not falling for your shit.
Hey,
Fuck you.
spirits. Fuck
Spirits.
I also would choose it just in hopes that Rod Steiger would come in and start screaming at me.
Almost
Oh God!
definitely.
Oh God!
All right, so final topic, which is Final Girl, right? When did Final Girl start to be something that people were paying attention to? Like when did that trope kind of come into
Slashers.
play?
Slashers, yeah.
Slasher, yeah, I think okay, so slashers, but like, I guess when did you guys start hearing it? Because Final Girl is something that's new to me, so I'm just wondering if that term has been around in the conversation of horror for 20, 30 years, or is that just been something that we like people have looked at in the last 10 and been like, that's something that if you encompass all of the genre, you end up you can talk about that.
Maybe it was. I think it was just like a universal understanding that
Okay.
it's just what you do. I don't know.
No,
It's always
fine.
been
Yeah.
a thing. I mean, like slashers, when they became very tropey, it became very much about the punishment of premarital sex. So then it became the virginal girl kind of trope survives the thing. I feel like, yeah, that's been around since the 80s, but the term final girl, maybe the last 10 years.
Okay. All right. I went with the one who rules them all. I went with Ripley from Alien. And
Android Ripley?
not Android, not Final Girl and Alien. not replicated Ripley. True Ripley, like Ripley in Alien and Aliens.
You're just mad because she would dunk on you.
Well, okay, yeah. If we're talking about shaved head Ripley and cuddly with
I am
spooning a xenomorph Ripley, the giant alien pod pit that they all pile on in, some alien orgy. Like that stuff was weird, but. No, what I did, and I mean, shout out to David Fincher for Alien 3. I know it always gets shit, but like I love it. But Ripley really just represents counterculture thinking that the final girl always has to be weak in the end and overcome it. She can be strong the whole time. She can tell guys to get fucked. She's a hero in her own right, where she's going after to save the cat, save the kid. She knows how to keep her head cool. Right. And these are things that normally don't get celebrated in Final Girl, because Final Girl has always been like the weak who then finds herself. Well, what if she found herself 10 minutes into the fucking movie? That's a little bit cooler to me than, you know.
You know who kept his cool in that whole movie? Bill Paxton.
He's
Game over, man.
He's Hicks.
Put her in charge.
So yeah, so
Game
Ellen
over, man. Game over.
Ellen Ripley is my pick for Final Girl, because she conquered two species. She conquered the sexism that came from the entire crew, and she conquered the alien itself. So that's there's a lot to be celebrated there in that regard than your typical escape the slasher, end up being alive just because she ran fast enough kind of thing. Maybe I approach this differently. Jimmy, what do you think?
Oh, I gotta go with Nev Campbell. You know me. I love my scream.
Knew it was gonna. Yeah.
Nev Campbell kicks ass. She's Sidney Prescott, man. That's all you gotta say, right?
But what is it about her character? Because is she just?
Oh well, or anytime
Pursue?
she seems to be around, everyone around her seems to get horribly murdered, and
Oh, so just by proxy, she's a final girl?
automatically.
Default.
It's just she's cursed, so thus the curse makes her the best final girl.
Dated Jerry O'Connell in 2. That's solid.
Oh, that's right. Jerry O'Connell was supposed to be the replacement for the bad boyfriend pick.
Yeah.
I don't think that worked.
No. He was the supporting. He's still a red herring the whole time, but he plays the more supporting role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Rhett,
He's a good guy.
who's your final girl?
I like the Ripley pick, but to back up on that, to 1974, I'm saying Jess from Black Christmas.
Ooh.
Okay.
This is considered by many to be the first slasher movie, right? Depending on how you define that. Some people say Peeping Tom, but
And Canadian.
What makes her my favorite is kind of on your Ripley point, is that she actually openly discusses on screen that she's going to get an abortion, which is pretty fucking cool on film for that time period.
Oh, that
and
was
to finally
so
stands up to her boyfriend, who's flat out like, "You're not getting an abortion. That's my kid too." And she's all like, "Fuck you," which I love. But that kind of became, like we talked about, the trope in a lot of slasher movies was the virginal girl survives, which kind of has this stupid metaphor of slut shaming, basically. When she was full on like, yeah, I had premarital sex. Yeah, I'm young. I'm also getting an abortion. But I also really love that near the end of the film, she has this moment of she actually escapes the house. And she stops and makes a conscious decision to go back in to try and rescue her friend.
Badass.
So to me, she's badass hero on every level, and I love that. I love that movie.
Okay.
What'd you think of the remake? Like not the early 2000s, but the
that one is fucking horrible.
I agree.
That's really, really bad. The one that came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't remember hating it, but I also don't remember it very clearly, which tells me it was probably meh.
That's about right.
Meh. I like it's such a great descriptor. You know what you're getting into when someone's like meh. You're like, all right, don't go
What
in
can you do?
Go in
Yeah.
under expecting.
Yeah.
Don't expect too
I
much.
don't remember it being good, or sorry, really bad. So maybe it was okay, but I mean, isn't that a worse thing to be? Is forgettable?
Yeah, when you can't even talk about you at all. When you forget that you saw it. That's the most
Yes,
like
yeah.
when someone's
And
like
I have a lot of those.
like when Gwyneth Paltrow was on the chef show
Oh my god.
and
yeah.
Favreau was like, when you were in that movie, and she was like, "What movie are you talking about?" And it was like Pepper,
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, Iron Man's wife. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I was in that." Like
It's like we did scenes together.
Whoops.
I was happy. You were Pepper. We read lines. This wasn't
Yeah.
important to. No, okay.
To one
fine.
of us.
To one of us, clearly, right? So I mean,
He was probably too like overwhelmed with the vagina candle at the time. So she was like, that was all in her mind. That's all she could keep.
she
couldn't-
probably just did a coffee enema
Oh.
and then was like moving so fast she couldn't remember even being there. That's probably what happened.
Awesome.
Yeah, goop.
Can I throw just quick? Also, we should throw out Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know if maybe
Just
we
Oh,
should pick
obvious.
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the cool thing that I liked about John Carpenter talking about Jamie Lee Curtis was that people say she was the one without the boyfriend. She was the one who didn't have sex, and therefore she survived. And John Carpenter's like, "What? No, I didn't have that at all. She was just happened to be paying more attention. She was the smarter one. She wasn't distracted by having a boyfriend or being social. She was kind of not an outcast, but you know what I mean. Like she just happened to be paying more attention.
I did.
I want to remove that like slut shaming sexuality aspect to the final girl idea. I think it's dumb.
That was just the media misinterpreting something that has nothing
Absolutely.
to do with it. Like you either intentionally write the character to be an idiot and get stabbed and die, and people will laugh and go, "Ha ha ha, what an idiot," or you write them to be smart and catch on and move on. Neither of those things has anything to do with premarital sex and slut shaming. You're just marrying an idea that makes no fucking sense.
Absolutely.
Martin.
I'm going with my boy Jimmy. I'm going with Sydney.
Sydney.
Going with Sid. Just because,
Sid.
like, I think for me, when this movie came out, it was like one of the first. It came out when I was in high school, and it was one of the first horror movies I saw where I seen horror movies as a kid, but I didn't get it. But this is the ones, I guess I was at that age where my mind was like, oh, I get this movie. That was the first exposure I had, and it'll always hold a special place. Wait, is my heart here? Yeah, right here.
It will always forever be a moment where I think the horror genre got rebooted. And I mean
100%.
rebooted not in the sense of like someone just plugged it into more voltage and turned up the volume to 11 and reinvented a lot of things and took it and ran with it and went forward, where that's where my horror really, like I remember seeing, The Blob or Lost Boys or really campy cheesy horror when I was a kid that I try to see at friends' houses and shit because my mom wouldn't let me watch it. But when I could start watching horror movies, Scream is where I remember getting into horror and then going back further and actually giving a shit about the genre and how it like doesn't really get any sort of credit. Like best stunt person, best horror movie. A horror movie should be celebrated at the Oscars.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
A stuntman's career or stuntwoman's career should be celebrated at the Oscars, right? Why are we celebrating? I mean, yes, cinematography is great, but why? It's not that celebrating those things is more important. It's like, why aren't you celebrating these things though?
Right.
And you want to get people to give a shit at award shows? Give away awards for cool things.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography isn't cool unless you're Roger fucking Deakins. Like that's because he's the best at it. So it's cool to those people. It's not cool to the person sitting at home. Cool to me sitting at home is like best stab scene in a horror movie. Wow, Oscars, you have balls now.
The MTV Movie Awards did that.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, best kiss. Yeah, they already have a
that
show
was
for you.
MTV.
Yeah, no, but why are they
Sorry,
choosing?
that Mike, MTV did it.
I know they did it, but let's do a better
I
version.
understand what you're saying, though. I mean,
Horror.
the Oscars are fucking stupid anyway. But I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, it's archaic. It's a very outdated, silly awards show for sure. And I would love to see more awards like that. And for horror to be recognized, I mean, it was at a time like The Exorcist, William Friedkin, and all the famous directors. At some point, I'm going to do a drama, I'm going to do a horror, I'm going to do an action, whatever. And that kind of got lost to the wayside, I think, in part because of slashers and popular culture came to view horror as that, just violence, just camp, just whatever. And Scream, absolutely, I agree. Changed the game. I think it really did. And without Scream, we wouldn't have the amazing, horror renaissance that we're in right now over the last 10 years. All these incredible directors coming up, and we mentioned Jordan Peele, and getting nominated for Oscars. And I think we needed Scream to kind of like flip things on its head for a minute,
I concur, Doctor. I concur. Well, Jimmy made mention that we were not going to try and do a 3-hour Rogan Alex Jones version of his podcast, so let's try to keep with that. This is how a Halloween special should have been last year. I think we've outdone ourselves. How about you guys? Let us know. You can send any of us here. You can send Rhett an email now here if you want. You can send Martin or Jimmy or Rob or Mark or Jason to the Reel Debaters at gmail.com if you want to comment on any of the stuff. If you want to give us your opinion, we'd love to throw shit up, give out some Instagram, some social media stuff to our fans who have their opinions. Send us your stuff, and then we'll be like, blank and blank thinks we're fucking morons, and this is why.
Please do.
Yeah. And Jimmy, what should they buy?
Our merch. Buy our merch and skateboards.
Yes. Both after
Real
this.
Debater skateboard.
Real Debate. We have skateboards. Yeah, we've got a lot of weird merch that we would love to sell more of. And if you need a skateboard deck, I promise you by Monday, November 2nd, both online shops will be available on the website, thereeldebaters.ca.
Yeah.
So you can go to Threadless or Designed by Humans and pick out some fun stuff. Anything over $75, you get free shipping. And if you want to email us and ask us for a coupon for something, we're more than happy to supply that. You can get our cost for it. Yeah, I think that is the show. Rhett, did you have a good time?
That was super fun and awesome. Thank you so much. This is like getting to talk about horror is one of my greatest joys, and I very rarely get to do it. And so this was special. Thank you.
Well, I am super glad that you think that, because I'll definitely tell Martin to be like, hey, what's Rhett doing next Saturday? We need somebody else.
Woo-hoo!
So if you want to do this again so that you're not sitting there going crazy in your head because COVID fucking sucks, please come back if you want to come back. And this is being recorded.
I would love to. Yeah,
okay.
Man, it's great. Nice to meet you guys and chat with you guys for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be on the recording, so now you're on record saying that, so you have to.
Damn it!
Yeah.
We've got him.
Yeah, I've got a verbal confirmation of that one. Big 10-4. So if
We
you
got
want to,
some good sound bites in this one.
oh yeah, this one's rich, and we're gonna.
Hot tub hugs. We had squirting wasn't working properly.
Oh yeah, going back through this is gonna
Vampire
be fun.
Daddy.
Yeah, no, I think this episode figured out its own social media pull quotes on its own. Speaking of, if you want to follow the show, it's at Reel Debaters, REEL, debaters spelt the normal way, on Twitter and on Instagram, and reeldebaters.ca for all other things. I have been Micheal Petrow. To my left has been
Jimmy Skinner.
in Vancouver. One of you.
Either or.
Not all at once.
I have also been Jimmy Skinner.
All right.
And Rhett, what's your last name, buddy?
What's that?
Never mind. It's been a blast. We're gone.
Sorry.
Oh God, I have to pee more than anything in the world.
Oh, dude, you can.
Yeah. I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'm gonna eat food and smoke some more weed.
Oh, okay. Rhett,
Bye.
it was a pleasure.
Good stuff today, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Super great.
Good stuff.
Talk to you soon.